to exist in 1984, and it was given a blessing by Archbishop Maxentius of Athens. Now, this is something that there's some points to this and some interesting facts about this that we have to talk about. The first one is the Archbishop of Athens goes back to Saint Dionysius, Saint Dionysius of Athens, who was a disciple of Saint Paul.
Yeah, because I remember that name. So that would have been very early. You're saying is you can trace that back to that saint, and that blessing though. Tell me why it's significant about the blessing in 84.
Now, the blessing that we were given was actually to evangelize Western lands. In the canons, there is kind of a set situation because the canons do have rules for what happens if, let's say, historically, and this is where it gets a little complicated. Historically, if heretics take over an area, the idea is that the church can send a bishop into that area, and if he can survive for 3 years and evangelize the people back to orthodoxy, then he would get canonical rights over the territory. So it's a way of the church having a provision to bring back orthodoxy when orthodoxy gets taken out by heresy. And the reason I say this is an interesting point, and this is something for all of kind of even for Protestants, who this might be completely new. I've got some surprises for everyone. Like when we talk about ecumenism, where everyone's recognizing each other, all of that is fairly new. That started in 1910, 1920. Okay. In the Protestant world before the 20th century, many Protestant groups, most of them were exclusivist. So, like, for example, like the Methodists wouldn't recognize the Lutherans.
Yeah,
that one was, yeah. And so different types of Protestants in different countries would also be separated from each other because they didn't recognize each other. Because that is actually the Christian tradition. If somebody is a heretic, it's like, that's what says it in the scriptures. A heretic is given the first and second admonition, and then they are to be left alone. That's where that comes from. So really, and that's why I said at the beginning that True Orthodoxy and World Orthodoxy are sort of fighting over the term Eastern Orthodoxy, because they have a new calendar Archbishop of Athens, and we have a True Orthodox Archbishop of Athens. Both of us are claiming effectively to the same apostolic succession, but like, Highlander, there can be only one when you're dealing with heresy.
So then the claim goes back to the apostolic succession goes back to the saint, like you said, the at least it seems to be nobody disputes the fact that it was the apostle. One of the disciples of Paul.
Yeah.
Okay, so then where are you at now in terms of what the church looks like? Obviously, they're all going to call you a schismatic and all this. So how does it stand right now in terms of communion, communication? Who recognizes? Is there any communication at all? What's going on?
Well, my personal experience originally was that, like, eventually that both sides are going to come to a conclusion where they'll learn to work together. Okay. But as I learn more over time, and I have learned a lot over the past few years about global affairs. For example, in Romania, they were persecuted and tortured in the 1920s and 1930s. Met people left and right. Yep. There was a True Orthodox Church of Romania, and I knew about it. I had some idea, didn't know much, but it wasn't until really the age of YouTube where True Orthodox of Romania started appearing more on YouTube and stuff like that. And they were channels with thousands and thousands of people. And then it started coming out, and I never knew this because I didn't know the populations. But I learned this a couple of years ago talking to people in the True Orthodox of Romania, that they make up 3 to 4 million people. Well, 3 to 4 million people is 1/3 and coming up on 1/2 of the Orthodox population of Romania. Whoa. So they don't have, like in Romania, you can't just say, oh, well, those are some tiny schismatics. They're everywhere.
Yeah, I was going to say, it seems like it's the whole country almost.
Yeah, and that's my point. They keep growing. And when I went to Greece, even though we're in communion with a small True Orthodox jurisdiction, the True Orthodox of Greece make up roughly 1/4 to 1/3 of the Orthodox in the country. So you start realizing, why do they have to do anything?
Right.
They are slowly just getting bigger and bigger. There was a hilarious story of the previous Moscow Patriarch, head of ecumenism, Hilarion of Volokhomansk, who they basically had to depose him because he was having a horrible scandal with some seminarian. But before that, there was an interview where he was explaining the weirdness of the situation between the true Orthodox and World Orthodox. And he said he went to Athens because he was going to go meet with the new calendar archbishop that he was in communion with. And he got in a lift or a cab or whatever. And the driver actually was like, Vladika, really, if you want to get to the real Orthodox Church, you have to go this way, and was pointing them in the direction of the true Orthodox cathedral.
They're like, hey, listen, we got a real Orthodox church, and then we got the other dudes.
Yeah. So the thing is, this is all of this stuff.
Is obviously, it's bigger than
all of this stuff is lost on the Orthodox, because they were trained like seals to believe that there are no true Orthodox anywhere. There's lots of true Orthodox in America. We have a giant seminary in California. We have big cathedrals in New York and all over the place, and so it's crazy.
So then I heard somebody say something, or they sent it to me. I think it was it Jay Dyer or somebody did that clip. I think I told you about it, where he was like, "Oh, they only have like some spot in Florida."
Yeah. 5 people in a trailer in Florida. We love saying that. I think that is one of the few things that virtually all true Orthodox in America have adopted, saying something about 5 people in a trailer in Florida, simply because it's just that ridiculous that it's funny to us. So
yeah, that's what he said. That was it. It was a trailer park in Florida. Oh, by the way, let's pay proper homage to Jay Dyer's laugh. Okay, so then it's not a trailer park in Florida.
He's like,
yeah. It's not a trailer park in Florida. Then you're saying is they're all over the world. Okay, let's get to this. This is the key. I want to lean into this. Okay, so let's keep it real simple for the folks. The reason you say you can see people in Romania, and I'm pretty sure there's other places. What
I can show you a map.
No, I mean, if you like, I mean, that'd be okay too. But I'm just thinking in my mind before we get to the map.
Yeah.
What unites you
to people
is, can I just say it? I don't want to make it as simple as possible. Okay. Anti-ecumenists. No?
Yeah, I would say that's about 50% of it. But I would say to make a positive claim, I would say what unites us is our fidelity to the Orthodox faith. Okay. That is the criterion and has always been the criterion.
Okay. So before we do this, before we take a look at something else, I want to can I pull up? Okay. So tell me if I'm correct. You are saying, and True Orthodox is saying, that the current church, the big Eastern Orthodox, the World Orthodox Church, is ecumenist.
Correct.
I want to get to the document that proves it. So the Council of the 2016 Council of Crete, is that one of the major documents that because it's short. Can I pull it up and then you point me where you want me to go to tell me, look, Mahler, right here, read this. And what do you think? I want you to be able to point it to me. Is that something we can do right now?
It is. I just have to the text of that are somewhat large, but they're, the one reference.
I think I have this one here. I don't know if this link works. I mean, we can zoom in here, but this is this. Okay. Do I have the right? theholycouncil.org.
What's the name? Oh, okay. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. This is it, right? Okay. So then guide me. You know this document. Tell me where I should be going. I have some highlights here.
Okay.
But tell me when we read this, where you're like, right there, Molly, can't you see? It's clearly ecumenist. They're using the title church for other churches. Where should I go?
Okay. Well, let's take a look here. So we can start with relations of the Orthodox Church with the rest of the Christian world.
Okay. So is that here up at the top?
That should be on the main page because it's one of the main documents.
Okay. So then should I go to documents?
Let me see if you can go to official documents.
Is this like not?
Yeah, you could fiid it on official documents.
What I have this? Is this like not the English version? Oh, it's in French. Sorry, let me switch.
Yeah, you can just click on English.
Sorry. Yeah. Oh, wait a minute.
Wait, no. Okay.
There it goes. Okay, got it. All right, so here's the list of documents. So where am I going here?
Scroll down a little bit.
All right, this one? Relations
that's
of the
one.
Orthodox.
Now, it's very important to remember that the ecumenists have had a very long time to work with on how to do the weasel wording. What I mean by that is to say, we still say we're the one true church, but we are praying with, like, Lady Bishop from the Anglicans, etc., or with a lesbian bishop here. So what they have learned is how to legalize heretical behaviors. So let's take a look here. So if we go to relations of the Orthodox Church with the rest of the Christian world. Okay, let me see here. And I will.
All right, so chat, what we're looking at this document, he's going to walk us through, is, as he called it, the weasel language. Okay? Now, here's the thing, chat. Father Joseph's going to point to the weasel language, and ironically, the Ortho Bros are agreeing with Father Joseph. Correct? Is that a correct sort of?
Well, I would say that they would say that they're not agreeing with me, because they would say if we were agreeing, you would be part of the church, which is circular. But
in one sense, they're agreeing with you that they don't like the language. They're anti-ecumenist.
Yeah, they're anti-ecumenist.
Okay.
But they can't do anything about it.
Okay, got it. Got you. All right. So which item here do you think?
Well, we can start with that. We can actually start at the beginning of the first one. So let's read that out loud, because this is
all right. So then it says the Orthodox Church is the one holy Catholic Apostolic Church in a profound ecclesiastical self-consciousness, believes unflinchingly that she occupies a center place in the matter of promotion of Christian unity in the world today. Is this already a problem?
Yeah. Because think about it. If you're the one holy Catholic and Apostolic Church, then you're already united in Christian unity. So who are you talking about?
Yeah, it's like, in chat, are you guys watching this? Okay, so Father Joseph is saying, I got a problem with this language. But you know what, Joseph? These guys cope. They say this is just, unofficial terms that we use with the world. It's colloquial. It's like, it's just this thing that we say. They're saying there's nothing loaded. There's nothing behind it. It's just simply a way to be nice, to call other churches church or Christians Christians. Yeah, it's just being nice in a way.
It gets worse. It gets worse.
All right. So let's get to the worst part.
I did see a comment that I do want to address, because Ortho says, ironically, the Ortho Bros have the same attitude about Protestants and others that true Orthodox do. I would venture to disagree. And the reason why is because if I already know that somebody is outside the church, and the tradition says that they're outside the church, let's say that you're Protestant, you believe in, but you have a belief in Jesus Christ, but I would say that that's not correct, etc. But I understand these things, so I'm not going to get upset about it.
Right.
And the reason that the Ortho Bros get upset about it is because they know their leaders are saying things like, these are our fellow Christians and our brothers and sisters, and they don't want to say that. Right. So I think it's best put, I forget if it was their elder Porphyrios that they declared this in or something, and he's like, I hate ecumenism. It gets me angry. None of us are angry. We're just not in communion with it. You're angry because your conscience is burning you, and you know you're supposed to do something else
about it. Yep.
And so that's why they're angry.
Are you guys listening to the logic that Father Joseph's putting forward, chat? He's essentially saying, you guys are in a pickle, a conundrum, and you have to be able to talk us through why you're in this situation. So give me some of more of the weasel language here that you think is in here that's powerful.
So let's we go through number 2. Number 2 is actually not terrible. It does almost expresses the Orthodox position, but in the context of these other bad statements, the meaning is changed. Okay. So, like it says here, for example, this unity is expressed through the apostolic succession and the patristic tradition, and is lived out in the church to the present day. But the question here, as you will see later, is, are the Orthodox the only ones that claim apostolic succession? We know that that's not the case. We know that Roman Catholics claim apostolic succession. Non-Monophysites claim apostolic succession. Nestorians claim apostolic succession. Many Anglicans claim apostolic succession. So what do they mean? And I say that that's important because, as you'll see in future numbers, it switches the goalpost from the church is united through apostolic succession to everybody who claims apostolic succession is part of the church.
No way. I got to see that.
You'll see this. You'll see how it goes.
Wow.
So let's get to number 3 and watch what happens.
All right. So the responsibility of the Orthodox Church for unity, as well as her ecumenical mission, were articulated by the ecumenical councils. But okay, hold on a second. I'm just going to ask you about this, but I think this is later in the document. But that reminded me of something. Okay, so these stress most especially the indissoluble
bond, the unbreakable bond.
So the unbreakable, right? Bond between true faith and sacramental communion. Hold on, let me move my screen here. Okay, so hold on real quick. Don't they have an issue with this definition?
Yeah.
You see, the problem school me on this. I've been reading this stuff for the last few weeks.
Yeah.
I'm just learning the definitions, the words.
This is a perfect example of what I'm referring to as weasel wording.
And then so zone in, because I'm thinking of something. You know what I'm thinking about, but share it with the audience before we go back to the document. What is it that I'm zoning in on the ecumenical? Have they defined that?
Well, that's the problem. The ecumenical councils are by themselves already defined. They have minutes. They have information like just like this website, which claims to be a semi-ecumenical council, depending on which World Orthodox you talk to. Like, for example, someone in the Greek Archdiocese holds that 2016 is an ecumenical council, just like the Council of Nicaea, etc., or more like the Palamite councils, because they're pan-Orthodox. But practically, they have the same level of discipline. The problem with number 3, the responsibility of the Orthodox Church for unity, as well as her ecumenical mission, were articulated by the ecumenical councils. Right. But how did it do that? Because each of the ecumenical councils reunited the Orthodox who had been split apart by imperial machinations, by heretics taking over their sees, etc., and ultimately reunited the Orthodox, vindicated them, and then declared the heretics anathema. This is literally the opposite of what they're doing, because have you ever seen the Assisi picture in 1986?
No.
Oh, let me send you a picture of this. This is funny, because this is what they mean, these modernists, by ecumenical movements, and this would have made everyone in the ecumenical councils, including the heretics, horrified by this sort of so-called unity. Hold on, let me just put.
Oh no! Am I going to be? Am I going to be shocked?
I don't know. Maybe this. Oh, this is a nice quality picture. Let me put this here. I'll send you the image address, and you can share it. And this is what ecumenism means to modern people now. That's joint prayers with just about every. I put it in the chat there.
Oh, so, I have not seen this one. I've seen another. I guess maybe a variation or version of this, but.
Yeah, this is the 1986 right Assisi.
Yeah, I was going to say this is Pope John Paul, right? Here? Okay. All right, hold on. Look at this chat. So there's the image broken down.
Yeah, you have the ecumenical patriarch right in between the Pope and the Archbishop of Canterbury of the Anglicans. Okay. You have a Russian representative to the left of him, and I think that's a Ukrainian representative to the left. On the other side, you have the Dalai Lama.
Yeah.
I forget what those other religion guys are called, but then some East Asian syncretation thing. Mm-hmm. And there's other images that you can pull up where it shows like Native American, like pagans, like celebrating. It's all mixed together. This canonically in the canons of the Orthodox Church,
it's not allowed.
It is forbidden, and more importantly, anyone who engages in it should be suspended or deposed. That is how seriously they took it.
So wait a minute. So if this type of activity is happening,
yep,
And you have the ortho bros that are going on, we're against this, or other priests. And I wanted to show you a website on that.
It makes me so mad.
Yeah, it's like, I'm so upset. But then what? You literally, so then they do, you said they can't do anything.
No, they can't because their leaders are for it.
Well, okay. All right. So hold on, chat. We have to slow down. Okay, chat. So, because we have to understand something, that what the Father Joseph here is doing is he's giving us the proper view of the sort of pickle that these guys have got themselves into. And I think it's appropriate that we put on the sad music, the deep music to explain this, chat. Okay? The ortho bros are out here going, oh, I can't believe it. We hate these ecumenists. But yet 10 to 11 of their patriarchs, I would say, have signed on in some way, because the Russian document is very damning, and basically says that there's Christendom. They are brethren, brothers. And they tell us because we share the essentials. I hate to break this to you, chat, but these ortho bros don't have any recourse. So what do? Well, Joseph, if you're in this church, what do?
You leave. That's what Canon 15 of the First Second Synod in 861 says. I will put it up on the screen.
Please put that up on the screen.
No
Chat,
problem.
are you guys listening to this? Chat, if you guys just want, we'll just end the live right now if you're not listening to what he's saying.
I think a lot of people are kind of upset, and they're using basic things, which I can cover, like the attacks on the Holy Metropolitan Vitaly, who died in 2000 and I think he died in 2006 is what I want to say. Okay, so let me send you this, because this is actually on the website of Esphigmenou, which is one of the largest, it is the largest monastery on Mount Athos, and the only one that resists ecumenism or even talking to the patriarch. Because the patriarch is the nominal owner of the Holy Mountain, even though he's kind of not, it's not supposed to actually be, they've been under siege since the 1970s. Like, they've had their power cut off. Most recently last year, because they couldn't kill them. Many of the monks did die from things like health issues, etc. But like even like 2 years ago or the year before that, they blew up the roads, so there would be no way for the monks to get there. Now, keep in mind, monasteries on Mount Athos are huge, and so they could survive, and they grew their own food, so they're fine. They're still the largest monastery on Mount Athos because people support them, and they have a lot of support throughout Greece. So the ecumenical patriarch is actually actively trying to kill a bunch of old monks on Mount Athos. But they explain why they do what they do, and so you can see the canon is very clear.
So where am I reading here what it says? It would say to leave.
Yeah, you can see. You can start with the beginning, but you can always start with the proper procedure.
The proper procedure. Where am I seeing that as? At this? Right here, second paragraph. Okay. Proper procedure within the church is to call for an ecumenical synod of the clarification of the dispute. No local synod controlled by the bishop in dispute.
Referring to the ecumenical patriarch. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So then it's not the procedure of the church to call the police to enforce blockade of food, water, and medicine to the monks with whom you disagree. Dang. This gets really horrible, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then you'll see here, it says, here's what the canons of the church say on this. Okay. So that if any presbyter or bishop or metropolitan dares to secede from communion with his own patriarch and does not mention his name, takes his name out of the diptychs when he's saying mass, as ordered and appointed in the divine mystagogy, but before a synodical arrangement and the patriarch's full condemnation, he creates a schism. So if you just randomly break communion with your patriarch, that's creating a schism, which is why the people like to say, oh, they're schismatics. But that's not true. It says the Holy Synod has decreed that this person be alienated from every priestly function. So if you just willy-nilly take out your patriarch's name, you're supposed to be deposed. These rules have been sealed and ordered concerning those who, on the pretext of some accusations against their own president, stand apart, creating a schism and severing the unity of the church. But you see the boldface here. But as for those who, on account of some heresy condemned by the Holy Synods or Fathers, sever themselves from communion with their president, that is because he publicly preaches heresy and with bared head teaches it in the church, Such persons as these not only are not subject to canonical penalty for walling themselves off from communion with the so-called bishop, enforce synodal clarification, but they shall be deemed worthy of due honor among the Orthodox. For not bishops, but false bishops and false teachers have they condemned, and have not fragmented the church's unity with schism, but from schism and divisions have they earnestly sought to deliver the church. So the point is that our job as Orthodox, if people are preaching heresy, is to break communion, to go to bishops who are preaching the truth.
So then you're being instructed to preserve doctrinal succession over everything.
That is the Orthodox way.
Bingo. All right. So I'm already being told, Mueller, can you let somebody up here and challenge him?
Oh, so please. I'd love to.
Yeah, I know you would. Okay, so let me ask you a question. Brother Joseph, would you be willing to debate like somebody like, Jay Dyer?
Not only am I willing to debate him, actually last year I did a 90-day challenge after he said those lies about the trailer park, and he didn't respond to it. He started saying I didn't have enough followers, stuff like that. But in the end, basically, now he says that I'm part of, like, we're all CIA agents and we're out to get him. So.
Yo, bro. Oh, you know what? Hold on. Since we're all on this, apparently over the weekend, we're also a part of, I think they accused us of being Zionists. I don't know if they said we're part of the Mossad. Yeah. It doesn't know the position. He thinks that, I'm that's not my position, by the way. I'm not a evangelical Zionist or whatever. But anyways, it's just funny to me how they all start to just try to throw out these things. So I saw a video the other day too. I don't know if we should expose it, but I sent it over to a couple brothers, and it's where basically you might find this interesting. I think it's legit, but I'm going to play it anyway. And guess what it is? It's one of the fathers that I think are a little bit popular right now. Let me see if I have it. Sure. And he is telling us this is how you deal with people that disagree with you. So apparently this is audio, again, allegedly. So let me click it because I sent it over to a couple of the brothers that we have in the chat. And
the commenter who says, I left ROAC. I left as a layman. I was never a priest in ROAC.
Okay. Oh, okay. So yeah, tell us that real quick. So then your background is you came into the church, and then when did you left? Because I think you told us that last time. When did you move over to True Orthodoxy?
I actually started in True Orthodoxy.
Oh, so you did? Okay.
I was originally a Roman Catholic. Oh, okay. And what ended up happening was I came into Orthodoxy in 1997. Now, back then, the Row Corps was kind of in between. They were in communion with a lot of True Orthodox people, so on and so forth. But it would be a few years later that they would want to move towards the Moscow Patriarchate. That's how Metropolitan Vitaly got persecuted, because he didn't know that they were planning this behind his back. It's really a tragic story what happened to Metropolitan Vitaly of blessed memory. But the point is, I was just a catechumen, and I watched as the ecclesiology in Row Corps flipped, and I went over to some Greek monastery in Boston, where people had mentioned, "Have you been there?" And I decided to go there, and their confession was fine, and their bishop baptized me, and so I was always True Orthodox.
Oh wow, okay, so True Orthodox from day one.
Yeah.
Well, look at this, because I think what's going to happen is all of this is going to get turned up, but apparently this is allegedly audio from, do you know this father here? Father Stephen
Jay Dyer's favorite priest, celeb co-host, Father Stephen DeYoung. Funny you should mention him.
Well, listen to this, because apparently this is, allegedly, this is the way they deal with people they disagree with. Let's see if we can catch this audio.
I've never seen this, by the way.
Yeah, I haven't either. I saw it earlier.
I would remember if I saw Father Stephen DeYoung with a bunch of M&Ms.
Well, yeah, it looks like it's just a shot. So, like I said, I say allegedly because I don't know. This was just a source on X. Apparently, this gal has audio of him saying, "This is how you deal with people you disagree with."
Okay.
So far that sounds like his voice, but it looks like he's speaking.
That's his voice, but I couldn't totally understand him.
Yeah,
is there
so
a way
what
you
he
can
was
hit
saying,
the CC
yeah, I tried to get it as loud as possible, but it's her recording. It's a gal recording of a recording. It sounds like he's having a conversation with some gal. I don't know if it's her, the one in the video, but essentially, how do you handle disputes? And he says essentially ridicule and violence. And then they start laughing. So I'm just trying to figure out what's going on because I don't know anything about this guy, but apparently he's popular amongst the ortho bros.
Yeah, well, I didn't know much about him. I knew he worked on a Bible translation or some text that was about biblical interpretation. But most recently, I started hearing about his use of the term divine counsel. And this is, I believe.
Wait a minute, isn't divine counsel language from what's his name who passed?
Michael Heiser, I believe it is. This is all new to me. But apparently, I didn't quite understand. Like, why didn't he just use celestial hierarchy, which is the traditional term that the Orthodox
I was going to say that was definitely Heiser's. I'm not sure he invented it, but he popularized it in the last 10, 15 years.
Yeah, I mean, it seems to have been like some old Judaic pre-Christian pagan sort of thing where they kind of viewed the angels in a pantheon.
And it's kind of a a council that they show around the Lord, and the Lord is in this council. So
the only thing that even resembles something like that is the 4 and 20 elders of Revelation, but that is definitely not what they're talking about because they're including the angels and calling them gods, which is insanity.
Okay, so let me do this. Let me mute this and let's play this through. I'm going to mute so that's not the doubling. I'm going to mute real quick and we'll just play this through. Let's try to listen to it and I'll try to make it out because I'm trying to see if you or I are going to agree on the tactic.
Especially when I grew up in the 80s. Okay. So you settle this with ridicule and, if necessary, violence. You make fun of them, and if they get really pernicious, you punch them, right? I think sorry for my Gen X approach, but that's no, I mean, I hear it. Answer not a fool according to his folly, but as my famous... Sometimes you do answer a fool. Yeah, sometimes you have to answer a fool according to his folly.
Or maybe just question the fool. Maybe don't answer him. Maybe ask him some questions like, why would you punch somebody? Why would you mock and ridicule somebody?
There has to be answers. Right. I can answer somebody. I can rip somebody apart without standing on a stage with an equal-sized podium next to them. Right. And shaking their hand beforehand and acting like, Well, he certainly didn't shake his hand. The debate on the platform, he can rip this guy for 3 weeks. He has a bigger audience, right?
Is that a proper way for an Orthodox priest to teach and speak in public? To say that if you have a bigger audience or a podium, to just use that to mock and ridicule and rip people apart? And now he's going to make fun of somebody that was excommunicated. There's nothing funny about excommunicating somebody. How is this funny?
Right. Matthew Heibach was dealt with he got excommunicated from the Orthodox Church 3 times. I don't know if you know about that. He got excommunicated from an Antiochian church, and so he snuck into a Russian church where the priest barely spoke English. Okay. And didn't know he'd been excommunicated. But then as soon as his bishop found out he was there, he got excommunicated from that church.
So the Antiochian church excommunicates a man and their priest, Father DeYoung, who is, by the way, recommended by other priests. When catechumens come into churches, or young people, or...
I'll leave it there. But apparently she's catching a hot mic or recording. Father Joseph, you're still muted, just to let you know. And basically him, having a good time. We don't have all the context, but my point is, it seems like you and I know you've been ridiculed a lot, not wanting to, let's say, debate the topics, right? And I know it doesn't really bother you. Same thing over here. By the way, now that we know Swathen And I'm Mexican, so then we're a couple of dumb Hispanics. Obviously, I'm much dumber than you because you're educated on all this stuff. But this is how they're going to approach this. A couple of dumb Hispanics talking about this. But what I noticed is that this is kind of a guy that's floating in their area. I think a couple of these guys have him on, and it does seem like the MO. Like if they are losing a debate, they don't want to talk about the issues. What they're going to do is they're going to start to ridicule you. They're going to start to kind of just move away from the actual topic and not want to debate. Is this some of the stuff that you've experienced in this topic that you've been wanting to debate?
Oh, absolutely. I would say that this has kind of been the MO. But really, I've always seen that as kind of what Jay Dyer does, because he uses mass block lists and stuff like that. To hear Father Stephen DeYoung say it is kind of gross. And I don't know the guy well, but that leaves a bad taste in my mouth, because unfortunately the true Orthodox throughout the world, whether in Greece or in Russia or in Romania or in Bulgaria, they've seen the violence. They've heard of people who were martyred literally by state police for protecting the tradition. In Russia, that was in the thousands.
I've heard of
if
that.
Not the millions, but at least the thousands in terms of recognized martyrs. And for people to be like, the answer is probably violence. I myself have personally, ever since we've gotten more visible in the past 3 years, the true Orthodox on the internet, I've heard actual people say to me that I should be thrown into an asylum and my property should be confiscated. That's a direct thing the Soviets actually did to true Orthodox clergy. So when people say, "Oh, these are just random schismatics," and then they say the same things that these evil psychopaths who took churches by force say, and then say like you deserve it, tells me that I think we're on the right path here, because you're saying the same exact stuff as your spiritual ancestors.
It seems like it's the same sort of rhetoric that maybe starts as a joke with laughing, but as soon as they have power, it becomes reality.
Yeah, and they don't have power here, so they hate.
Yeah, of course, and thank God that they don't. All right, so let's get back to the Weasley language here that you mentioned. Okay, so we were on number 3. We kind of broke down where we see even the debate about the ecumenical definition. And again, you're saying you're actually reading these documents. You know this language that they use. What are we looking for? Let's say in item 4 or 5. I know item 6 is really powerful from what I read before. It just seems to talk about this term right here. So tell me about this. Is this something? Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say that the traditional view of the non-Orthodox it's just what St. Basil said in the 4th century. People fall into heresy, schism, or unlawful assembly. And those 3 things are defined as follows. Heresy means false teaching. You're not holding to the traditional teaching of Christ and the apostles. Schism is separation from the ecclesiastical body to try to form a parallel body without reason. Like there's no heresy involved. The people are Orthodox, it becomes like a personal reason. This is what happened with Donatism. And then finally, unlawful assembly, where a guy just says, you know what, these guys, the church is wrong. We're starting a new assembly and claiming it to the rank of the church, which has happened historically many times. So the concept of the non-Orthodox Christian churches is largely recent. And I would say that you don't really see much of it until the late 18th century, which is true of basically, again, almost all the churches throughout the world. The Roman Catholics weren't involved in ecumenism until around 1930. Okay. Protestantism wasn't involved in ecumenism until 1910. So nobody had this concept of non-Orthodox Christian churches. Everyone believed that their church was the Orthodox church, whether with big O or little o. Right. The point is, they didn't see this whole ecumenical movement or merging together.
So then this language right here is key and crucial to start to expand a wider net, create the ecumenist sort of doctrine, we like to call it. So then tell me, walk me through. Is there maybe another paragraph that you wanted to hone in on, or is this 6 good here?
Let's continue. Let's continue here because let's see here.
Should we scroll up?
Let's go to number 7 because number 7.
Number 7. All right, let's go to number 7. If you want to go ahead and read, is it big enough there for you?
I can do that.
Yeah.
In this spirit, all the local Most Holy Orthodox churches participate actively today in the official theological dialogues, and the majority of these churches participate in various national, regional, and international Christian organizations, in spite of the deep crisis that has arisen in the ecumenical movement. This manifold activity of the Orthodox Church springs from a sense of responsibility and from the conviction that mutual understanding and cooperation are of fundamental importance if we never wish to put an obstacle in the way of the gospel of Christ. So it's an interesting reading of 1 Corinthians chapter 9, but what's really important here is that their claim in 2016 is that every single major church of world Orthodoxy is involved at the national level. Like if you think of the World Council of Churches, they're all involved. If you think of the National Council of Churches, they're all involved with.
So they're in this bucket.
Yeah, they're flat out saying it. Yeah, they're in there.
I'm not catching it. I'm reading it right now. I'm not catching. But you're saying this is what they mean by this.
Yeah.
The big church bucket. The world.
And it's right there at the first sentence.
So they're saying right here in this manifold.
No, in this spirit.
In this spirit. All the most holy. Wait, no. Wait, you're saying this?
Yeah. Just finish the sentence. Yeah.
Chat. Look at my face, chat. Wait.
Remember the Ortho Bros being mad about it? Well, they're all in it. They're all in it.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, bro. You know what? We're just gonna end the live right here. We'll see you guys later. Yo, this is crazy. Yo, chat. Now we're gonna have to let this simmer, chat. Yeah, it's a wait, what? Hold on. We're gonna let's do the old school. Wait, what? Do I still have that joint with the dog look? Wait, what? You can't make this up, bro. You can't make this up. Mahler can't engage with the position. Wait, what?
What position? I don't even understand the position.
What does that mean, bro? So he brings a schismatic priest?
Oh, yes.
I'm engaging literally with the position, bro. This is your church right here.
I'm schismatic because I am not involved in the official theological dialogues or participating in the various national, regional, and international Christian organizations.
Yo, this is crazy. To be so chat. So then to accuse me of running, I'm not engaging with the topic. I literally have him on here. If there's somebody in your church, in your World Orthodox Church, that would like to come up, that's an authority, Father Joseph's here. Send the link. I'll send it to whoever you want. We'll drop it and you can pull up and you can prove him wrong that the most holy Orthodox churches participate actively to... Oh, come on, bro.
Yeah, Sean is right. Look, the position equals Jay Dyer, so everyone is clear.
Wait a minute. Which one are you looking at here? Wait.
Sean Sidonius.
Okay. Yep. This is exactly the point. You have nailed it. But then I'm the one. I'm the one that's getting accused of running away. I'm not running from anything.
Sorry, man, my fucking headset died.
Leaning in like a couple of dumb Hispanics. I mean, I'm speaking for myself, but hey, might as well throw him in there too.
Yeah, that's fine.
This is wild. This is wild, bro. Okay, all right. So, anyways, drop the link. What do you mean? Why? Are you an authority?
I do it.
Hold up.
I'll talk to non-authorities.
Okay, so you'll talk to ladies?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So let's get through this though. Come on, let's continue here because what I'm being told is that the Ortho Bros are apparently in a church and their hands are tied and they're a bunch of ecumenists.
I'm so angry about it.
Yeah, and they're pretending to be anti-ecumenist. Okay, so I'm okay. All right, let's go. Let's move to another portion. So we're number 7 right now. Anything else you want to jump that jumps out at you? let me know. Where are we at? Do you think you want to go to 8? Anything else?
Let's see here. What
is this? It says dialogue with other Christians. Well, I just think it's huge. So let me ask you, according to the way you see it, you're in World Orthodoxy now, okay? Meaning you're playing you're playing the advocate here, okay? Does this Christian include Catholics and Protestants? Are they saying that we are in some form of salvation when they make this statement and call us Christians?
Yeah. One thing that there is an ardent new calendarist named Ethan Wayne who is popular on Twitter. And ironically, he can't stand the Ortho Bros. But finally, when I came out and pointed out that he was right, because he was basically saying, no, of course we recognize non-Orthodox as part, within the church. I was like, I know, that's your historic position. And he's like, I really appreciate the old calendarists for being consistent. And that got them so mad.
Yo, chat, did you hear this? We're reading their document. Oh, and you know how they all go around going, oh, yeah. Oh, you're just a dumb Mexican. You're not even saved. Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, according to their church, we in the ark. We in the ark. What? Okay. All right. So
they're World Orthodox. That's their position, but the historic Orthodox position and the historic position.
No. According to your position, Father Joseph, we ain't in the ark. I respect it. I got it. No problems.
Yeah,
we got no problems.
You might think I'm not in the ark. Like,
I would honestly, to be honest with you, you call me an ecumenist because I believe we're gonna go to the Russian document in a second.
I gotta get you like into like more of like a German Protestantism, like the Amish or the Mennonites, because they're
hey, the Amish. I'm not gonna lie, I live out in the country, so I'm feeling. But let's do this before we get people start to say that we're in this like, oh, you guys are non-conspiracies, bro. This is not even a real document. This is the document of 2016, right? Council. All right. So I have questions. Okay. Since we don't know what makes a council ecumenical council, apparently according to the church, I've had a bunch of different answers on that. This pan-Orthodox council, tell me what that means. Lay it out for everybody. And apparently 10 of the 14 it was that went, and the other 4 had some various reasons. One, I believe, Georgian was the one that was clear to say, we don't like the language of this joint. But everybody else was more like clerical. They had some other issues. Tell us about how this.
At least one of them groups actually said we just can't make it. Like
it was one that said you're right. One that said we can't make it. I think the Georgians were kind of like, we don't like this crap. They were the only ones that were clear.
Well, the Georgians are freer. Were freer to do that, and that I'm of a mixed opinion on the Georgians because
they're pretty hardcore, right? They're at least are they kind of still.
Everyone likes to hold up the Georgians, but from a true Orthodox side, we know a little different. And what I mean, here's why the Georgians are not involved in the ecumenical movement and why that may change. In 1996, there was a letter written by the heads of all the monasteries in Georgia to the patriarch saying you must leave the ecumenical movement because they were in the ecumenical movement. People forget Patriarch Elia was himself a WCC head. They wrote this letter and said, if you don't leave the ecumenical movement immediately, we are going to break from you and we are going to join the true Orthodox. And when they said that, that scared the daylights out of Patriarch Elia. So what he did was he immediately was like, we have to pull out of the ecumenical movement. I don't want to deal with any disunity in the church, etc. A bunch of the abbots still left.
So he basically got shook down, he got pressed, and then he says, all right, let's back off.
Right. So ultimately, that he did actually demonstrate that gave him some leverage among some traditionalists throughout the world that were still in the official churches because they were like, oh, finally, someone's going to do something. He didn't do anything. But the point is, he at least wasn't part of the WCC. A lot of Georgian bishops throughout the years since then have said, well, once he dies, we're probably just going to go back in. Well,
wait a minute. So they're going to go back into the Crete under the umbrella.
Yeah, but he literally lived for so long that he only died like last month. And so they just elected, he handpicked a guy, they picked that guy, but they still don't know whether he's going to do anything. But they literally made a new patriarch like 2-3 days ago or something.
Wow, so, I didn't know this.
Yeah.
Because I'm part of that other website that tells me what's going on with the Orthodox Church. Okay, so then You're telling me you have a suspicion that they're going to jump in.
A hunch they're going to ease their way back in.
Okay. All right. Well, then we'll just call it 12. The reason I say 12 is because you're familiar with the Russian council, or let's say it looks like almost like a pre-outline or preamble to this. The language is very similar in the Russian church. And actually there they lay out some essentials. Yeah. And so I want to go to that document. But before we do that, let's finish up here to point out. So far we had the most holy Orthodox churches that's mentioned, and now Father Joseph is putting us on that. Hey, that means all the churches. What is some other language here in the rest of these areas that you kind of want to look at, if you remember any?
Yeah. Well, if you look here, and this is remember I told you about that apostolic succession up, up further. Look at number 8. In number 8, they begin to use actually the language that is used for prayers of ordination.
Okay.
And specifically, though, will make up that which is lacking. Now, this is actually kind of I hate to say it's like an in-joke or in-group comment within the Orthodox position, but the idea is this. Oftentimes, historically, when people return from heresy, but they had a rank, they would be read ordination prayers, but sometimes read like very quick ones. So there's like a difference between hierotonia, which is a full laying on of hands, and hierothesia, where you just read the prayers and you just like kind of tap the person.
Kind of pronounce it over them.
Right. You're kind of respecting the fact that they had a rank, etc. before.
Okay.
So that is a historical thing. But the implication of many ecumenists is that by doing this, we actually recognize their ordinations, which is that's the reference to what was up there with apostolic succession. So it's a subtle way of hinting that there is apostolic succession outside the body of the Orthodox Church, which is very much not the teaching of the Orthodox Church.
Okay, so then, so they're basically saying, you guys got apostolic succession, everybody's got a car.
Everybody's got apostolic succession.
Oh my goodness. Chat, what do we do? Should we let's just end the live again, chat? All right, so then let me ask you this. Is it safe to say that even from your perspective, from the true Orthodox, you don't go around willy-nilly using this thing? Oh yeah, Mahler's a Christian. You wouldn't even say that. You would say he's a Protestant, an evangelical.
I personally could say that from a technical standpoint, as a Protestant, you're formally a Christian. I wouldn't say that, because to go so far, and I don't like doing this, to go so far as to say nobody is a Christian. I'm not saying you. From a technical standpoint, I realize I used to be one of those guys when I was young. Like, I was a jerk. Where I'd be like, no, if you're not part of the Orthodox Church, you're not Christian. But what good does that do? I already can call Protestants heretics. Like, how much worse do I want to make it? Are you inside the church? No.
Yeah, but even within your church, let's say you're having, let's say it's Father Joseph and a couple of other fathers, or even a bishop, and you guys are hanging out. Are you going like, oh yeah, I heard he's a Christian? Or do you say, no, I heard he's a Catholic. I heard he's a Protestant.
No, we'll usually use, if we know their denominational term, we'll just use their denomination.
Yeah, that's what I figured. But anyways, so I'm getting the language.
And we wouldn't say Catholic, we would say Papist, because we believe we're Catholics.
Oh dang! Okay. All right, he corrected me. He's
hope worshippers,
and now he's one of these papists. All right, so then can I go over to the Russian document?
Sure.
And I want to get your take on this, because I find a couple of these, these ROCOR guys, they come out as the most hardcore. Tell us a little bit, while I pulled this up, about your opinion of the Russian church. Okay. Talk to us about that.
Well, first, I think if you look in the private chat, I do have the True Orthodoxy in Russia. It's the second link.
Okay.
1 minute.
Oh, okay. So then what we're going to do is I fix this dang audio. All right. That's the second one. Let me shut off Okay. All right. Let me do this.
Oh, and the reason they cut off is because they're loops. Ukaz 362, issued by Patriarch St. Tikhon in 1920, governed how the church should organize while being persecuted by the Soviets. Individual bishops and dioceses could reorganize as temporary higher church administrations until such time as the entire church could be reunited to elect a free patriarch. This ukaz would allow the church to operate freely, even if communications with the Supreme Church Authority was impeded or even destroyed. Ukaz 362 governed not only the Catacomb Church in Russia, but the Rokor and what would eventually be used as a foundation for the Rohak in Russia, the Rokor under Metropolitan Vitaly that fled under the threat of union with Moscow, the Artak, Rokor under Metropolitan Agafangel in 2007, Rokor under Archbishop Andronik in 2016, Catacomb-descended churches in Russia, all of which exist today due to...
Again, going on the loop, but okay, break this down to us.
Mm-hmm.
What was this that they broke down and they kind of got back together temporarily to be able to create a church, or what was that?
What basically Ukaz 362 did, because Patriarch Saint Tikhon foresaw that what the Soviets were going to try to do was to take over the church and use it as a tool of state atheism.
Okay.
So what he did was he wrote a document where he explained every bishop in the Russian church now can, if they don't have, because normally there's canons that govern how bishops interact with each other, who runs what, how the bishop, his diocese is run. What Ukaz 362 was, it said there's a temporary measure that I'm putting in place. Remember that Patriarch St. Tikhon was the first actual patriarch, and we would argue the last actual patriarch in like 300 years. Like before that, they had just elected him. He basically said, he wrote out the document, Ukaz 362, every bishop basically has almost like full authority over his diocese, like if you were a patriarch. And so effectively bishops who were trapped like out of range with other bishops could operate effectively autonomously. And then if you can get together with other bishops, you can form what's known as a temporary higher church authority. And so this was actually what the bishops outside Russia did. They got together and in Sremski Karlovci in Serbia, and they were like, we're declaring ourselves the Russian bishops outside of Russia. And so that became the Rokor, the Russian Orthodox Church outside Russia. And there were other Russian bishops in America and the Americas, so on and so forth. And they either joined the Rokor or like one group formed the Metropolia, which would become the OCA. But the whole point is that there was a framework there for survival until the Soviets fell, until Orthodoxy was restored in Russia. So basically, all of the kind of true Orthodox that you see in Russia, and there's over 1 million of them there, etc., even though they're heavily persecuted, and all these different groups come from that ukaz of St. Tikhon. Either A, they come from bishops that use that ukaz to continue surviving in Russia, or more of a majority that descended from the Rokor and then had their authority because they lived in Russia, etc.
So then what is the biggest view, considering how they're put together and the Russian bishops outside of Russia?
Yeah.
So what is the big issue with that, or what do you think is the stickiest point there, or what you see as problematic in their history?
Well, I don't see it as necessarily problematic. I see it as divinely protected, because what would happen was in 1943, exactly what was predicted by the document would happen. And that is in 1927, Metropolitan Sergius, who was a high-ranking bishop of the church, whether by torture or not, I'm not sure, but eventually made the famous declaration of loyalty to the Soviets. And so he said, our sufferings are the Soviet Union's sufferings, the Soviet Union's joys are our joys, etc. So at that point, the Soviet Union gave him a little bit of a break. When the war happened, when World War II occurred, they had massive civil disobedience. A lot of people were not going along with it because they were like, hopefully the Soviet Union gets destroyed. And so they didn't support it. So a lot of what Stalin realized was that he's going to need the support of some kind of church. And so he elevated Metropolitan Sergius to patriarch, a new patriarch, and said basically, you're going to, you can have your church, but it will be under our control, and you will do what we say. And so effectively, the Soviet, that got referred to as the Soviet Church, it was seen that way in Russia, outside Russia, by everyone except the Soviets themselves. And so That's the real division in the Soviet and regions, etc. Not just in obviously in Russia, but like Ukraine, in
anticipate them. Yeah. He runs his own show, right? We do our own daycare on ourselves. Stanley sees it. Yeah. Pretty much. Yeah. The Machine Lies has seen it for a minute, man. My streaming buddy. This is something that's crazy, like the Puppet Master, right? Remember that movie with the Puppet Master? Those Nazi puppets that were invoked with demonic virile energy. And there was the Puppet Master, the guy that made these puppets, right? And they would attack people and whatnot. Yeah. So the host is like a puppet master because, I mean, as a host, we control the digital environment, and we can use technology to dictate the terms of human interaction. Like I can literally like ban people, and I can bring them up here. I can make their voice louder. I can make their voice lower. I can even do it like the real puppet. Like let's say the puppet is sentient, like a Pinocchio is alive. I can still be controlling them if you want. You can still be controlling them. You can mod god them. You can do all that fun stuff, right? Because the mute and the boot power, right? That's the ultimate authority that the host holds. We can mute a panelist mid-sentence, right? Or I can boot them, kick the baby back down to the waiting room right there, to the nether world, to the basement. And this actually, it's kind of like behaviorist therapy, right? This forces some of the panelists to perform according to the host standards, right? Or they risk losing their spotlight, their precious microphone, right? Their one time where they can shine because they can't do it in their offline life. Man, sometimes I want to get off the stage, bro. Every class is a spotlight opportunity in the real world for me. I guess that's a good problem to have, though, huh? Because as a teacher, which in a sense, it's kind of like daycare too, because you're teaching children how to conform, not only to learn, but how to be a positive functioning member of society and whatnot, whatever that means, right? It means many things. What's up, Becca? Love you. I'm having a really good morning. Appreciate you. Yeah. Appreciate you. Yeah, controlling the narrative is something that's fun, and we love narratives. Everything's a narrative, right? We've done shows on narrative theory and whatnot. The host can, because the host literally can frame the drama any way I want, any way they want. The host can choose what receipts they use, receipts, what screenshots, what videos, what text messages, what shows on the screen, right? And then if for the untrained mind, the wide open prime time, the host can act as a judge, jury, and executioner all at once in terms of someone's internet reputation. It's fascinating. Yeah. Fascinating. I'm cooking. We got somebody here, but I'm cooking right now.
Bang, bang, bang.
Shit like that. Shit like that. Shit like that. Shit like that. Shit like that.
What up, Neuro Jack? Sir, CIA Neuro Jack. What's up, man? How you doing, man?
I was wondering if somebody's gonna pick up on it.
Yeah, like CIA in a lotion bottle. Yeah.
What? Say it again.
Like CIA in a lotion bottle, the ego in the lotion bottle. Yeah.
My nigga.
Oh yeah, yeah. Good.
Hey, what up, Machine? My nigga, what up, man?
Yeah, blessings.
Chilling, bro. Your boy's cooking tonight, man. I feel it. If you're gonna go meta, you got to do it right, man. This is that daycare. Do you see it? The daycare parallel sometimes in some of the panels.
Yeah, I think the whole daycare scheme kind of goes back to the Montessori program, right? And there's actually a lady named Maria Montessori who was a Fabian socialist, right? Who developed this Montessori program, and obviously, the whole concept in Fabian socialism is that the children need to be handed over to the state.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because it's nepotism that's based on family and religion, that is sort of the final place that establishes the hierarchical order within society. So you have to uproot the system. You can't just change the economic system. You have to change the cultural and social mores. So
yeah, you're right, and that is a good point because off the top, Maria Montessori, what she did was actually, it seems very empowering what she did with children, like how she kind of focused on children being quote unquote more like self-sufficient, independent. But with that said, you're right. There was a overlay of of handing your children over to someone else. In this case, you said like in the broader scheme, the state, which was never really done before, right? Was never really done before. And it's funny because people pay thousands of dollars extra to send their children to Montessori schools rather than kinder care, cookie cutter daycare where they just 1 2 + 2 is 4, stupid Barney shit, right? Whereas like Montessori is supposed to be hands-on, and you're artists and all this stuff, but nonetheless, you're still handing your children over to the state. So that's true.
Yeah, I think it closely parallels the old folks' homes.
It's a reverse, right?
Yeah, and sometimes the panels, you get 2 or 3 boomers on the panel, and it's almost reverse. It's like in a you're in a like old folks' home or like a mental asylum, where now you're taking care of the elderly, that don't that have these old ideologies, that you have to settle, and you have to like they don't understand any nuance in any subject.
Yeah, unless the host gets like draconian on them and like puts them in check. Yeah, those boomers can run away with the narrative of their story, huh? Back in my day, we did this or whatever, whatnot. And he just says,
back in my
day, yeah. She says Montessori worked with special needs children in the slums of Italy with highly neglected street urchins. I said eunuchs. No, but she's right though. Like I have a place in my heart for Montessori in the sense of like what she literally taught about. Like I would say if I had to, not had to, it's a choice. If I was going to send my kid to a daycare, I would love for them to learn some of the things she taught them because it wasn't like she wasn't doing the arithmetic and all that. It was more like, can you pour yourself a glass of water? Can you get yourself up in the morning if you're an infant? Can you cut vegetables for dinner? Can you dig a hole for a garden? Like that's a lot of the stuff, hands-on stuff that she was teaching. And I think she was amazing with that stuff. But the system, like when we were talking with the Machine and Neuro, you guys were looking at the big picture of things, zooming out. And the whole concept of having to give away your kids, especially when you don't want to people you don't even know, it's very scary. It could be, you know what I mean? And it could be damaging, right? And shout out to Ahimsa. Is that
I'll be right back.
Is that from that's from Mr. Rogers. That Ahimsa, what that Lady Elaine? Lady Elaine, is that her name? She looked like a drunk, huh? Like she was weird, bro, on that show. Yeah. Yeah. But
Yeah,
shout out for you.
and what's the other one's name? The Lamb Chops one. What's the
Oh,
remember that show? Lamb Chop.
oh yeah,
The
there's lamb
Lamb. What's
chops
the?
with Carol King, Carol something like that. Yeah. But Mr.
Yeah,
Rogers,
yeah.
this one with the puppet show. He did all the
Yeah, the
voices
puppet show.
because he said that that as a child he was the only child, I don't know, for 9 years or something till his sister came. So he had to entertain himself. So he learned all the the voices and used his imagination. And he was one of my first teachers besides my mom, Mr. Rogers, bro. He's a legend over there from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Yeah. I love
Yeah,
Mr.
Mr. Rogers was interesting. Yeah, I watched it a lot really young. And so it definitely had an impact on me before I can really remember. But I'll never forget like the first time I saw a real puppet show. And I only saw a few as a kid, but
You were like
those
amazed.
were
You
so
were really good, right?
well, I thought it was really cool. And a lot of people like I noticed a lot of kids didn't like it. I thought it was very interesting. Like it was a very like
It's
interactive experience in a way. Pretty
it's
weird.
new. It's next level, man. Like I showed this when the Avian was here the other day. In Taiwan, puppets are big, right? The puppet show, their culture. Whenever they have a festival, there's always like a puppet show cart that pulls up. But in Taiwan, they took like basically like the spirit of Transformers in the 80s and 90s, and they made these elaborate puppet shows with kung fu anime type shit, and like epic with the epic stories of the Chinese sagas and whatnot. Yeah, so that's a big deal. So Himza says I had 2 years of book club on her. She's deep reading, yeah, deeper than the Chardin, the Jesuit, right? Dude, I read her book too, from infancy to high school. Her problem is she didn't patent her method, and most schools are ripoff of her methods. Not about right. I noticed that even here in Taiwan. Oh, as soon as his LARP, 7 days. Yeah, is that LARP? That's not like I don't think you have a picture.
This is a guy from like
Machine?
England or something.
He has a new name. I like that Gollum in there. Oh yeah.
No. That's not. It's not.
Okay. Yeah. We use these clips. What's the matter, you? Like a radio host for sure, bro. Yeah, we got you.
People be okay, because I know I'm not. As a real nigga with feminine energy, I am not okay with that.
Maybe not that one, but yeah, the system looks scary when they have no idea who's alone with them doing what. Yeah, you don't know what the teachers are and whatnot, right? Yeah, there you go. Lamb Chop, Daniel Tiger. And Mr. Roger became Daniel Tiger now. Lady Elaine, yeah, all this stuff. Good. Lady Elaine reminds me of Annabelle. Both were possessed dolls. Yeah. Lady Elaine is just ugly. Jesus Christ. 33 is your favorite number? Just a Freemason here, like trying to make a day. $1 out of 15 cents. Math and science. Yeah, back to this this daycare. The origins of daycare and whatnot. Yeah, like we do control the narrative here, right? And then there's the economy of clout, right? The economy of attention and clout here. That's the currency of the Panelverse. It's attention, and it does sometimes create an unbalanced relationship, transactional relationship. Like you do something for me, I'll do something for you, right? Or there's people that are just appalling, that get a chance to spew their nonsense just because they give money or something, right? Or because they're a big time supporter of a show, And I think, Neuro, do you ever see, like, it seems like there's a segment of hosts who exploit some of their panel members, kind of like Howard Stern and his Whack Pack. Or it almost seems as though some hosts are actively seeking out unstable or controversial, highly emotional panelists, right? Because of their raw outbursts on live stream to get super chats.
I've been accused of farming this kind of stuff, and I'll be honest, I don't think I've ever done it consciously, but definitely I find some of those interactions very highly entertaining, but I think it goes from, in my opinion, is the host conscious of what's happening or not?
Yeah.
And do they have any mentality about what could come out of it, or the dangers involved, and I think that's a hard thing to know because, even as myself who host a tiny show that nobody watches, right? Like it is something that you have to think about, like, no, you know what I mean? But like relative to like some of these large creators or yourself, like, I'm saying like it's something that you should be thinking about, I guess. And it's kind of like with your kid. Well, I think it's an analogy that works, right? Like I saw this guy the other day say something like, should you let your kids watch violent movies and stuff like this, right? And the question is like, well, what's the purpose behind it, right? Like if your kid watches it with no guidance or direction, it could be extremely destructive. But if you're teaching them about when to fight for the right reasons or not, it can be very instructive, right? And it's very visceral, and it's something that they're going to have to learn about at some point. So, like I grew up watching a ton of violent, like, 80s movies, right? I mean, just incredibly violent stuff. And I don't feel that it really, made me a violent person. But it definitely made me very capable of violence. You know what I mean? So, I don't think that being capable of, and I think the same way with like mental illness or whatever you want to call it, right? Can the audience handle what's happening, and can the people on the panel handle what's happening? And that's, unfortunately, that's one of the problems I think that's the hardest about the medium, right? Like we don't really know who's the audience. We don't really know who we're talking to on the other side, right? So that is a big danger, I think, that we have to learn to appreciate, or we should learn to appreciate. We don't have to, but we probably should.
Well, whereas the producers would use the Nelson rating and focus groups to get a feel for who's watching the show. I guess us as hosts and producers of these shows on YouTube, we can come to our own conclusion by who shows up regularly, right?
Well, oh yeah, for sure. But I mean, like imagine if we had like I saw one of the guys that I used to watch. I don't want to name anybody, but the people that I came into this watching, right? And then I saw that like when I was watching their show, he might get 100 views at a time, right? Now he's getting 5,000 views, right? Live.
Oh wow.
That's an incredible number. But my point is that how could any one person really know all those 5,000 different people and what they're feeling about it, and are they mature enough, or are they getting what you want them to get out of it, or whatever? I mean,
Well, you could. I mean, I'm not even a creator, but I can watch, because I was watching the last few months, not anymore, Sneeko more than any other creator. I wouldn't watch it like religiously, but I would watch it more than I watch other streamers. And I noticed his chat in general were a certain type of archetype of a person, like young man, kind of edgelordy, red pillar, into what's trending, but also yearns for some type of conservatism in their life. So anyway, what I'm saying is I think you can kind of get of course you can't know everybody. It's like I can't know everyone in my chat per se, even though it's not that large yet, but I can get a kind of a feel, I would say.
Well, I'll give you an example. I'll give you a personal example of mine, right? Like with the alt-right, like when I was watching the alt-right.
Are you gonna give me a personal example? Sorry, I'm a little slow with this. So I gotta do something real quick.
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah. Go story time.
Let me give you a personal example, and then you do the little. Yeah, I like this little cartoon you have in the back too. It looks like a little chaos magic star or something.
That's exactly what it is. Justin, Dimitri, and I made it.
Oh, really?
And then I think we invoked C19 after we made it. Because I'll just tell you this: that little writing you see around them, you can kind of like those lines and stuff. Those are actually the writing of the manuscripts of the Austrian painter. I'll just leave it at that.
Oh, really? That's funny.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on there, but go ahead. Yeah, it's cool.
Well, it's funny. Like, really quick, it's funny because I made this like little AI thing about tell me the Gnostic interpretation of the Little Mermaid. So like I've had the Little
Oh,
Mermaid on
that's
my
cool.
brain for the last month, and so
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
eventually I'll like turn it into like a little thing. But I thought it was just funny. But so the personal story about the alt right, right? So when I was watching the alt right, I got a lot of jokes that were about these very
Uh-huh.
controversial topics. But to me, it was kind of like have you ever seen Sarah Silverman?
Of
You know Sarah
course.
Silverman? Okay,
Jimmy
so you know when
Kimmel's
she says
ex.
like yeah, so you know when she says like all these like extremely blasphemous things about Christians, right? So when I was
Right.
watching that as a
Right. She said,
kid, yeah.
she said if Jesus Christ came back, she'd kill him again.
Okay.
This is she
Yeah,
said.
she said crazy stuff. But like when
She's
I
doing
was
that stuff.
younger, I was a Christian watching it, right? Or I'd watch like the
Mhm.
roast stuff where they're like talking mad crap about people. I kind of saw it somewhat like that, where like, yes, there's truth in it, and yes, all this, but it was also kind of like it's kind of like cathartic, like I said, right? Like it's like
Mhm.
you get all this comedy and you get to like, crap talk each other, and then out of that there comes like a resolution. That's kind of how I saw it. I was like,
Yeah.
maybe this will like heal the divide, right? It's just like watching Dave Chappelle, right? But then
Yeah,
I
stir
saw it
some
take a
stuff up.
turn, and and that's when. But I saw it take a turn where people kind of took these things that I thought were a positive thing, right? And they turned it into something that obviously turned into very negative. And I think that's what happened with Dave Chappelle. I mean, I remember him very clearly on his one of his interviews, and I disagreed with him at the time, but in retrospect, I understand what he's saying, where he's like, he would do this joke that was really vicious,
Mhm.
about, the N word or whatever. And he's like, and then you'd see people laughing at the joke, and he would think, are they laughing because it's funny, or are they laughing because they really have hate in their heart, right? And I
Yeah.
think that's a question that you have to really ask yourself, and
Okay.
you don't know the answer to that, right? So I think that's kind of interesting.
Maybe because I'm mixed. I think I'm laughing at both. I want to keep it 100. Because sometimes the reason why some race jokes are funny because it's fucking. I maybe I'm fuck it. I'll speak my heart. Being horrible to someone is actually quite funny because it's absurd. So I can
Right.
see why people like
Right.
race jokes, right? Because it's making fun of something that someone really doesn't have control over, and that's why kind of they hit hard. But with his question is true though, I guess. But in the end, you can ask that question, but as an artist, that's up to the people to decide. That's why they say never ask. You shouldn't really ask a painter like, what does it mean you're painting? You know?
Well, Tom said this the other day because it relates back to the thing we're talking about, which is daycare, right? He said that, um, you know, education in general will kind of like serve the middle, right? And so
Mhm.
women have like a middle level of intelligence. They have a middle level of, agreeableness, right? Like they may hate each other, but they don't let that spill over into the classroom often, right? You see what I mean? So generally speaking, education will cater to women and cater to their needs. And again, I'm not saying 100% buy the argument, but I'm saying like in general, right? And I think that's kind of the way that uh, a lot of society is starting to uh, manifest, right? Where it's going to like
Yeah.
kind of go to the middle. The people that are okay with the status quo, it'll cater to them. So like, for a period of time, the comedy would be transgressive and all this because there was a market for it, right? But then as society's gotten more about becoming a daycare for adults, right? For
Hmm.
whatever reason, right? Um, it's kind of necessary for them to cater to the people that are not really, uh, you know, interested in rocking the boat, right? Because society's now been structured in a certain way where it wants to coddle people, or it has to coddle people, or whatever. So I think that's part of what's going on, I would say.
What do you think about that machine? I see what he's talking about, though. What he's saying.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, in terms of the online space, right? That we were talking about. I mean, it's totally manufactured, right? Like, for example, there's 3 examples I'll give. Right. One is the actual manufactured drama content that's on the interwebs, right? That is based on paying the trolls and the other people to show up to the show, right? So sometimes this is collaboration between the shows, right? So there's a certain level where the drama will be totally, manufactured beforehand, right? Or and a second way is that there's actual production companies and actual production apps, right, that assist people with creating the content, right? And sometimes these even basically give you subjects to talk about, and whatnot. So a lot of these production companies, their job is to sell high-end audiences to other companies, right? So the whole game is of audience capture, and these audiences are basically curated beforehand, right? Because they belong to a certain group or they watch a certain show, right? And they're basically by and large sold to other shows, right? Where they manufacture this content. And then lastly, right, they'll give themselves money. Like, for example, right, they pay themselves, right? Like, they'll divide up the money that they're getting from the company into several donations that they give themselves through bots. So if they're not generating donations, they'll simply pay themselves, right, by giving the donations they've already gotten, dividing those up into several bot accounts, and then generating new donations, right? So it'll make it look like they're doing a really good job in getting all these donations, but actually it's just
just passing it back to themselves.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's true. And then and then you bring in talk about finances, like in the drama driven panelverse, the super chats and monetary donations to kind of act like a financial fuel that turns these conflicts into like a profitable sport. I look at it like a video game, even, man, because the money, it directly alters the behavior of not only the host but the panelists, and it transforms something that could be like a normal conversation into something that's like you said, engineered, and it's like a high stakes circus for attention and money, and probably, if you want to use more speculation, like mind control, some weird shit, distract you from benefiting from yourself.
Yeah.
Like yesterday I was denied. I was not reapplied for monetization. I had to wait 90 days.
Oh wow!
And they still did, it again. It's like, and I cleaned up. I took all the copyright which says you have reused content, so I cleaned that stuff up, and still. So it's like, yeah, but yeah, that's just something personal, but yeah, this whole crowdsourcing, using the donations is like the viewers, even in the chat, they use their money to insult people and start rumors and
I'm starting to question if some of these regular donors are viewers, or are they the production company acting like they're giving donations, because you see the same donors in 2 or 3 chats, right? And they don't just contribute to the show, they run a few shows.
Well, they're also paying YouTube directly, because if YouTube takes 30% and they're sending a super chat, now you're actually greasing the hands of the host, which is actually YouTube, right? So that's part of the thing.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Neuro Jack brought up a huge point, because the channels that are monetized, they're going to be promoted above the channels that aren't monetized already, right? So that's an actual factor, because they're in business with YouTube. Right, YouTube is going to promote the channels that are in business with YouTube, right? Why wouldn't they? They are a business after all, right? So
because they get a double side too, because you both get advertising and you also get super chat, so it's a dual income source for YouTube itself, and ultimately it just gives them more data, right? Because then it's like, okay, now you have more transactional data, and then you have more ads data, right? So it's actually, I don't even think it's necessarily the money, it's also the data, right, that it generates. I think
so
that
The
could be a
data,
big
yeah,
part of
for
it.
sure.
Yeah.
This is data driven for sure. What did Shadow Buddha said right here? Machino, I saw. I'll talk to him about this real quick. He said, Gabriel, have you noticed that the past few days that the boomers versus the millennials have been occurring in the panelverse? Yeah, for sure. I saw that with I saw you at Orthodox guys. I was like, oh, cool. I haven't seen this in a while. Machine's up there. And it's funny because Orthodox guy, I think he was happy to see you up there.
Summarize a lot of the events that transpired, largely for my own edification and for that of the audience. And I believe I accurately
I told you so, right? Machine type shit. You're like, I told you guys about this shit.
Well, I mean, I could say more, right? But I don't want to give away the plot, right? Because obviously we see more than we say, and obviously that is a situation that has not come to a close yet from my perception of it.
Yeah. No disrespect the Orthodox guy. I don't think he'll take this the wrong way. We're cool, but let's use him as an example because that's something that I witnessed the last couple of days. It seems like he's in a Occam's razor. I'll just look at it. Who knows what motivation and all the strings behind it, but it looks like it's a pull he's pulled between the boomers like Chuck and Cynthia and Tootie and even though she's an Xer, Generation X, and versus the millennials like Crab and Hornet.
I found it fascinating because as you know, I've had to clean house recently, and so there's a lot of interesting dynamics with that because it seems like things are coming to a sort of confrontational phase, right? Where certain energies turn to be totally untenable when placed in the same sphere, and then they start to become erratic. They start to give off erratic.
The distortions are coming out, seeping through. The Chatter Cake says these idiots get their camera and mic to work. Can't get their camera and mic to work together at the same time. They're not using bots. Shit, 90% of them are. We say 21Q of points above disabled. You know what? That's something that John Galt, the urban landlord, has been stressing about. Normally, if it wasn't for StreamYard, a lot of people wouldn't be streaming.
Yeah,
StreamYard makes it so easy.
If you look at thumbnail to thumbnail to title to title, to donor to donor, and you looked at 3 different chats, these people are not the only ones that are running their channel. If you believe that these idiots that can't run their camera and run their microphone, that they're the ones running the channel, and they happen to acquire an audience of 30 to 60 people, then I think you should look again because there's something else going on there.
Yeah, look at Jack Talcott, for example. His thumbnails, he admitted that somebody else does it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Whoever does that, it's very religiously dedications, every day. They're on it. Bam, 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 bam. That's wild, bro. Good for him. But yeah. Oh yeah. We have a new channel because we're gonna. This one is for the next 30 days till August 16th. Can't get any super chats or anything like that. So we're gonna. I'm just watch hours away on my other channel. It's called Mantra 93. We put it in the chat, so we're streaming there. We're streaming from there right now, and so this is gonna be the main channel. We're gonna be streaming for Shadow Buddha and I, and we're gonna do a presentation on Saturday for you guys. He says we'll be doing a formal 30-minute presentation on mindfulness in the body and how the body is important as much as the mind. And we will do an easy to understand deep analysis. Yeah, for sure. We're gonna do that, hit it with the visual aids and whatnot. And then we're gonna open up the chat to see what y'all think about it, So that's gonna be fun because not to say there won't be drama because organically drama is everywhere, right? It's life, the Maya of the world, one could say. But with that said, we're gonna be strictly focused on the topic at hand, right? So that's gonna be new for some of y'all, but it should be refreshing too. Yeah, so this whole thing about this panelverse and daycare, right? Because did you guys have to go to daycare when you were young, you know? Or did you have like relatives take care of you most of the time when you were little, you know?
Yeah, relatives. Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Yeah.
So I did have a daycare experience, and it was very negative, I would say.
What's up, Dom?
So I don't remember a lot of it because I was pretty young, and after this experience, I never went back to daycare, so it never became an issue again. But
Yeah, I'm
my
pretty sure
experience of
like
daycare was bad. Yeah.
yeah, I'm pretty sure they didn't have
Yeah.
daycares, in Pakistan in like 1996. I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Maybe in
I'll
the
tell you what
expat
it was
community
like.
they did, which is probably small. But yeah, for the most part, they probably didn't. Huh? Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what it was like. There was a guy named Michael Keenan. No, I'm just kidding. I'm
Yeah,
just
that's
kidding.
no, I know, but that's fuck, I can't think of the name. It's the San Francisco Presidio. The Presidio the daycare there, because that was the military base, right? And interestingly enough, DreamWorks
is right
took
there.
that. It was right there. Took that property over. Yeah.
And Lucasfilms is not far away.
Lucasfilm, yeah.
So,
Yep. Yeah, I didn't think about this like
in a lot of ways, if you think about it.
Weird, but not. Yeah. And then down the street is Christie Field, the beach right there where the Zodiac Killer was doing his thing over there. You notice this when the host will triangulate, like, because I heard this accusation of this yesterday on OG's Orthodox Guys, like where not he was doing it, he was claiming somebody else was doing anything. The host will like pretend to be like neutral, while on the back ends they're feeding information to different panelists behind the scenes to like fuel the stream, so it's not boring or to cause drama and whatnot. There's all kinds of stuff, right? Yeah, and I think that trauma bonding is a big thing too. Yeah.
Well, that's kind of what I was going to say about the daycare thing, because here's where it gets weird, right? So it's dynamic, right? And this kind of goes back into conspiracy theory as well, because like, are events that we watch on the news real or orchestrated? Well, obviously both to some degree, right? Like, because like, okay, if there's a war, like the leaders have to send those people to war, so it is orchestrated. But at the same time, people do get hurt because it's a war, right? So it's both, right? And so for example, when I went to daycare, like my experience was there was a lot of dirty diapers. There was a lot of kids that were biting each other. There was like a lot of like, it was like really negative stuff.
That's
and again,
bad.
I only went for a very short period. But what ended up really pushing me over the edge was like, for example, we went to see a movie at the daycare, right? And then at this daycare, at this movie theater, I needed to go pee, and there was not enough people to take me to there and watch all the kids, so I had to wait. And obviously as a little kid, that's pretty hard to do, and I don't think it worked out so well, right? So but those little negative experiences, like, they really imprint on you and give you like a negative impression of the world, right? Because and so I don't know, it's pretty weird. Yeah.
It's the tone.
Yeah. And school kind of gets that way too, because as school gets less personal, it becomes more mechanical. Go ahead.
Because it is a daycare for a lot, especially if the students, and I don't blame them, aren't engaged with the material or excited to be there. It becomes a daycare at best for them. Whereas like a student, either because they're ignorant or because they're just really excited about learning whatever it is, they're engaged with the material, so they're able to follow the directions and whatnot. Whereas someone who's bored, the teacher becomes a daycare. Like, hey, stop doing that. Hey, pay attention. No. You know what I'm saying? And yeah. And the thing, another resonating parallel between daycare and the Palaverse is, if one spends most of their time here on the live stream, panel hopping, chatting, they take that mentality offline when they do interact with people. And I don't think, and I don't get that some people go like, people don't act like.
I think you dropped out.
Yeah,
Or
your
am I tripping?
audio, your audio disconnected.
Because I raised my mic when it does that. I don't know what you heard. I said I think some people who make the claim that the panelverse, the online experience is not like, you wouldn't act like that in real life. You know, I think some of those people, they do act the same, in a bad way, right? And they don't even see it. It's just some folks here are very not self-reflected at all. Read the room, bro.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to see it to believe it, right? I've not seen any of these people, right? So out in the wild, as and out in the wild, as they say, right? I have met one of the homies from online, and he turned out to be very surprisingly normal, right? He is into like history, politics, and stuff. And we have had several conversations, and we talked about a book by Carl Schmitt and all this type of stuff. A gentleman came on the show. We did an entire, I guess breakdown, of a book by Carl Schmitt, right? The political, philosopher of the Yahtzees, right? So
yeah, I mean, Michael T talks about him.
A lot of people talk about him. Yeah, Michael T, right? The self-hating Pajit.
Yeah, who's a bard, Irish bard, Pajit.
Yeah, the house Negro.
Pretty much, yeah. Uncle Ruckus. Big Uncle Ruckus.
Yeah. The packy Uncle Ruckus. Yeah.
Yeah. Taking shots at mentors over there, Machine, I see.
You're taking shots at my entire situation. So
yeah. Damn. Yeah. Be careful, bro. There's legal liabilities and real world consequences. No, there are some people like with that snafu snaps, right? That's another thing that gets into it.
Bacon out of the these losers up there, right? Once they cross the bridge, it's on, baby.
That's not that tough far from Michigan, right?
Yeah, it's not. It's not.
Gonna pull up.
Well, that's what's weird about it too. Is like, most of the beefs that I've had, and I'm sure this has been other people's experiences. Like, I don't take, because I don't know most of these people personally or have any desire to. I don't really look at it that beyond what it is, right? But it is kind of like weird that you have like people that take things very seriously or out of context, whether it's truly how they feel or part of what they're doing on one hand, and then on the other side they try to bait people into making things personal where otherwise it wouldn't be to be for any reason. Right? So seems to be a part of it. And again, I don't know if that's personality or something else going on, or it's hard to know, right? So but it does kind of go back to the whole idea of daycare, because it's a daycare for the people on the panel and for the people in the chat, right? But even think of it like this, economically, right? A lot of jobs are just daycare for adults in a sense too, right? Like that's kind of the weird thing, is like that the economics have now turned from like a pure capitalism to what Messina started to call like techno socialism or something, or I can't remember the exact term, but
techno liberalism. Yeah.
Right. But you said, remember Tom was saying that we live in a capitalist society, and you're saying, well, we're kind of beyond that, and now we're into like a different type of situation. And I think that kind of plays into the panels as well, where we're all kind of being given a sort of welfare. Like jobs are more like welfare than a job now, right? They're not really necessarily about bringing the best out of you as a person. It's more about giving you something to do to occupy
you. It's busy work. It's busy work. It's like you could be a teacher that plans out a lecture and really breaks down and unpacks the subject, a topic, and wants to go out of your way to engage the students, right? Or you could be one that says like, open your workbook number 2 to page 53 geography and do the next 10 pages while I sit here and doom scroll or something or do whatever. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, some of these jobs do seem like the busy work, bro. You're right. I got that when I was working at the drugstore. I called it at the Italian grocery store. Yeah, I was ringing people up, but it was still like fucking, bro. This is just trying to keep me out of quote unquote trouble or something.
Well, and there's this idea that Machine has brought up and Tom has brought up, and I'm sure you're aware of it, but it's also come up a lot in a lot of commentary recently about this idea that responsibility without authority is slavery, right? And I think more and more this is the kind of overarching critique of technology and economics and political things and all these things where like we're given more and more responsibility as humans, but we're also kind of removed from it for various reasons, right? So
yeah,
we don't really have the authority to really take any input, right? And so the idea that we vote for things and have some authority via that is kind of like going away, right? So
yeah. What's it becoming, you think? No. We were replacing the traditional work.
Sure. A daycare.
Yeah. Managing these people, huh? While they collect. I would assume that the majority of seems like a majority of the people in this space are disabled. Maybe collect some type of hopefully they can, if they're disabled, they can collect some type of assistance, right? To take care of themselves. But you get a lot of time on your hands. Have a lot of time on their hands, man. It's weird when you think when you may have the best intentions. You're like, I finally have some time off my hand. I got laid off or something. God forbid. Like I'm gonna try to improve myself, but what happens is a lot of times is you get in a rut of being comfortable, and yeah.
Well, but that's the thing is like if your daycare of a job is not going anywhere, but then you have a daycare where you get the illusion of control, right? So it's more attractive because then how many people will trade like king of the mountain for that's not real for like king of the molehill that's like seems a little bit more real, right? So
yeah. I mean, the only person I know of that went from a traditional job to doing this full time is Powder Dusty. That's his name. Like he went from doing drywall, which probably like, or I think he just said he did something else like safety compliance or something, whatever it was. It was construction sound like base. From going to that, where yeah, I'm sure even if he had a decent job, he's not the boss, right? Probably. But to go from that to being in control of your own quote unquote community where you get money, I can see how that could be attractive for some people. Yeah, bro. Like I had a content creator out here, one of the biggest expat creator. He had told me like years ago, maybe like 8 years ago, about the importance of parasocial relationship if you're going to be a YouTuber. And because like if you have a parasocial relationship with these people, they get enmeshed into your life, like confused, right? Because a lot of viewers were lonely, and they lack meaningful, real connections in their life, right? So, or in their communities, right? Their family or even communities, like.
Well, think about it from this angle too. Like, how many people are in a parasocial relationship with their own family, like their mom, their dad, their brother, their sister, because they live far away, right? So like they just get a phone call once a month and say, "Hey, what's up? How are you?" And that's about the extent of the relationship. Like, does that become parasocial in a sense at a certain point, or?
You mean with your relative?
Right, because as you continue to live your life away from them. You know what I mean? And so you're living like in meat space, but also you just kind of communicate through that about nothing particularly important, right?
It's one-sided, yeah. And that's what isn't that what a parasocial relationship is? It's one-sided. And if you the person that's always sharing and you have this strong connection with your relative that you're speaking to, and while they're completely unaware of like how important it is this relationship you have with them is, yeah, that definitely becomes a parasocial relationship, right? If you're putting it in kind of like simping, that's what parasocial in a broader scale I can see it as. Whereas a simp is someone who puts all this effort to help somebody, to care for somebody, where the other person could care less about what they're doing for them. It gives them nothing almost.
Well, that's kind of the misery of the whole OnlyFans economy now, right? And that's kind of what a lot of the YouTube commentary and all this is. Where I mean, like Jay Dyer, I don't want to name him by name, but he has a very interesting meme where he calls like his
What's up, Wicked?
He calls his audience pay piggies. Like, okay, pay piggies, send me some. And it's kind of funny, but it's also like to some degree true, right? Because
yeah.
You know, like you're looking for guidance in a sense from somebody you don't know. And, you know, not that it's always bad. I mean, do you really know Pythagoras when you're learning from Pythagoras? No,
it's not bad, but it's the truth. Yeah. Because like with Jay Dyer, like they're literally donating to him kind of buy kind of like entry into his tribe. And he probably if he reads the comment, like, or the donation, they automatically get validation, right? Oh, he read my name around, even though he called me a pay piggy.
Right. But then if you get excommunicated, like the whole crowd will turn on you, right? And then it also sends a message to everybody else that, well, this person's now outcast because whatever. And again, that's natural to tribalism, but now it's digital tribalism.
Today,
right? So.
Yeah, because today's guest is tomorrow's or tribe members tomorrow's target, because the panelist who's even like the host's closest ally one night can easily become the main subject of a takedown stream the next week if they cross the host or the audience member. I had that experience on the other guy's channel.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying.
Think about it like this too. Like, remember Clavicular? He took an OnlyFans
that's
girl
my nephew.
and then brought this girl to meet the guy who gave her like $2 million, and she didn't even want to touch him or even speak to him.
Alice Rosenberg, the chubby girl. He said, "You talking about her?"
Hello? Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
She's not even chubby. He said he met her, and he said the first thing he said to her was like, "Wow, you're fatter than you look on screen." Wow, I didn't. Yeah, that's the one you're talking about, right?
Yeah. Well, I didn't see the whole thing. I just saw the clip where
I watched it like a couple times.
Where he brought this guy, and he's like, "This is the guy who gave you $2 million." And he's like, "Do you want to give him a hug?" And she's like, "No."
No, but she might have, though. Here's the thing. Here's how it started. First of all, the metaphysics behind it is Clavicular most likely is already having sex with Alice for free in exchange for clout. She goes on his stream, right? For the last month, I've noticed her around, right? So he brings her biggest pay pig, right? And he's typical weird looking incel dude. And he shakes her hand, and she looks kind of excited, but kind of nervous. Was suspected. I mean, a guy that probably goons to me all the time, right? And they introduce, and the first thing he says is literally, "You're fatter than you look on screen." And once he said that, she was done. She didn't know what to think, because it already was weird.
Well, what's interesting is, like, if Clavicular said that to her, even if he had way less money than this guy, right?
She'd be like,
well, yeah, but I like Clav for whatever reason, right? But then this other guy who's just an awkward, weird guy, even though he's provided her with a living for the next 5 years, he's not allowed to make her feel some type of way, right? You see what I'm saying?
No, because he only has money. I mean, under the black pill, essential pill, or whatever you want to call it. He had status, but that guy, he didn't have. I mean, he had money, but he doesn't have status or looks compared to Clavicular. And Clavicular even said, like, "Yeah, maybe you're right," but like, and she didn't even. She's still probably gonna, fuck with Clavicular still. So it's it's wild, bro. Like,
but that kind of goes back to this whole Panelverse as a daycare type of thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because again, it's like there's like a whole ecosystem, you know, of, like you said, clout and parasocial relationships, and like people who want a dad, people who want a brother, people who want a sister, people who want to, you know, get laid or whatever. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
it's a lot of different things, but because it's so inaccessible, um, you know, in any sort of real tangible way, it puts everybody at a weird disadvantage where you don't really know, even what we're doing now, like we don't really know the full like cost and
Extent of it.
reward of what we're doing, right? So
Yeah, right. I mean, that's why I do like one in the monetary is nice because I look at it as a video game. I mean, we are all gamers, most of us, right? And that's like that's points on the board. But there's also intangible points you can get with like great supporters that come. They may not even drop a dime on your stream, but they're like the work that they've done, either being like exceptional panelists or great chatters, is like priceless. You know, so there's a lot of different ways you can get points. Shadow Buddha says, Gabe, Neuro is spitting that real black pill about looks and being king, and a woman will make up some quote to be with Clavicular from Clav. Yeah, he sees it. Yeah, he sees it right there.
Well, that's why I'm so interested in Clavicular, because it is kind of like a macrocosm of like what a lot of people are actually experiencing. Imagine all the people, you know, 25 years old, and their girlfriend either does OnlyFans or they don't have a girlfriend and they watch OnlyFans.
I know,
because they feel like they have an experience of it, right?
So they have that girl and she's like, they already have a quote unquote solid relationship. Someone say, hey, it was never solid, but hey, shit's very delicate, man. When you even think about it, like she's like, I've been considering doing OnlyFans. I want to pay off my college loan. It's like, god damn, that's fucking.
There's a whole economy of women who expect to get paid just because they're women, and some of them do get it, but because it's this kind of general expectation, like women don't believe in having any sort of like 2-lane relationship where it's like it's a back and forth between a man. It's kind of like, well, if I get what I want, maybe I'll grace you with giving you what you want because I want to give it to you or something like that, which, of course, we want to think that relationships work that way, but the reality is there's always a give and take of some sort in any relationship, right? It doesn't necessarily mean that there's no love, but there's always going to be an exchange of some sort, right? So
granted, maybe there isn't. Maybe there is you want to call it caveman, where the guy's like, you do what I say, everything shut your mouth, all that shit. Like maybe that is a relationship. Maybe a woman with certain women would like that, but I don't see it really. But I certainly don't agree with one that when you're getting walked over as a man, Eve too. Even so, I would say like every body needs a head. Every team needs a leader, right? And if you are a part of a team, your family, or even if it's just you and your girl, you got to be the head as a man. However, you take compromise too when applicable. When it's poignant, and you take counsel probably from her too. So yeah, people can say all this shit, put out their chest and say this is not women and men, but like, talk to me when you done plus 14 years of marriage, and then maybe what you have to say will hold a little bit more weight. Not to say that I can't get knowledge from someone who's single, but like, just remember who you guys are talking to, though.
Oh, it's a different whole different thing, because like every year that you're married or in a relationship, even if it's a friendship or something, every year is going to change, like it's going to be different. It's not going to be the same. It's always going to evolve. I mean, and if it doesn't, then that's probably a really bad sign. If it doesn't either, so, even if it doesn't, that's probably not good either. Right? So.
You're like blissed out on shrooms 24/7 or so. Well, who said something? Oh yeah, our friend Becca. She said, "I'm so confused. What do pills represent? Pills represent like kind of like a in this case, the state of mind of how you would address a certain situation. And in this case, in terms of male female dynamics, interactions." particular sexually. And I think Shadow explained it a little bit here, Gabriel. He said, so the pills, right? The black pills, it's kind of like the existential pill. Black pill equals looks, money, height, status. As that's they think that that's what attraction is based on, right? Not being a nice guy, not, yeah, I'll just keep it at that. Looks, money, status, basically. This is what that's based on, right? This is your lot in life. Know what you know what you're working with, and in a lot of ways, if you do that, if you do want to talk to a woman, engage with a woman, you can kind of almost judge where it might take you. You might not go out of your league, or you might not undersell yourself either, right? And then the red pill, social awareness and techniques to dating, career, and money. Like that's kind of like self-improvement, right? Like you already know what you're dealing with, right? Now, how am I going to level up so I can take advantage of what I'm working with? To get my body right, get my finances right, get my, they call it Riz or whatever, charisma, right? Your game, right? And get your money right. And then the blue pill is like what we're born into, basically a world of you're still asleep to how things are going on. You're not awake. It's to the realities of life, which you do need sometimes, especially if you have a job, especially if you do have a wife or a girlfriend. You got to be blue pill in the sense, I call it being humble sometimes, right? The nice guy, right? It's okay to be the nice guy when you have other things in order. But if you're just a nice guy throughout your life, you're going to get shit on. So this is kind of like a quick overview of the pills, right? Black, red, blue. Mm-hmm. And don't get me wrong, you only take pills when you're sick, right? Don't live and die by these things. It's just something to remind you of situations.
What color pill would the daycare pill be?
The daycare pill would be the blue brown one with the dirty diaper. The bluish brown pill. Yeah.
I forgot to mention this earlier. And I think there may be somebody joining soon. How much longer are you going? Because somebody told me they wanted to join, but they did not come up.
I'm gonna go at least another hour. I gotta go to the dog park.
Yeah,
an hour or something like that. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, for sure. They're more than welcome. What's up, Marilyn? I just saw you. What's up, Sweets? Good to see you. Yeah. Shout out to this person. I think they changed their name. They're killing it.
This is a fan of our show. I think he used to go by a different name, but he's from the United Kingdom or something like that. Yeah. But he's a funny guy. I like him.
Long story.
I couldn't understand his mic sometimes, but he has a lot of interesting stuff to say. I wish he would join. But no, I was going to ask you, what do you think of Waldorf schools? Because I was kind of thinking about this recently. Because I tried to take my kid to a Waldorf school last year, which was a little bit too early, I think. But I was kind of intrigued. Like I think they have an interesting thing, but I didn't look that deep at it.
That's
so. Do you know anything about it?
If I'm not mistaken, they use some of the Jesus Christ, what's his name? The cool guy.
Steiner.
Rudolph Steiner, yeah. Like his stuff. But I'll tell you from anecdotally, people I know, my good friend Jeff Soto, the author, went to college with, his daughter and son went to Waldorf school and is very like artsy, like art focused and creative, as I remember him saying. And if you know the lore from this channel in my life, like my surfer girl that I used to date back in college, she was a product of Waldorf school. And I remember when she would talk about it, she would tell me, very great artist, right? Visual artist. She would tell me that, like, she loved her school and all that, and they taught her like, painting, but they don't read. They don't promote the kids to read till they're like a certain age. I don't think they focus on traditional academics right away. So the kid may be off the charts with art, but I remember Teal would tell me that like when she got to quote unquote regular school, conventional school, she was like way behind and didn't know, like, the STEM stuff, for example, probably. right? And then some
Yeah,
English
well,
language
I noticed
stuff.
one thing, like my own schooling was kind of it's kind of a blur for whatever reason, but when you raise your own
Yes,
kid, you
Shadow.
notice one thing very quickly. And I'm sure you notice this because you have a kid and you've taught, right? But
Mhm.
whenever I realized that my son could read very early compared to most of the kids, it's extremely weird because kids kind of just pick up on the meaning of things on their own, right?
Right.
And I've noticed that it's way earlier than I think people give them credit for in a lot of ways, and
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
kind of like a self-fulfilling thing. And I noticed when I saw some of these more artistic kids, their ability to kind of pick up on things was kind of stunted, I guess. And so I was kind of shocked by that because I didn't expect it to be so pronounced. But yeah, it's kind of. Do you have any
Right.
insight of why that might be, or?
It's probably only there's only probably so much processing power the kid can have. I'm looking at the video game metaphor, right? And they're building out their character, and I guess that could be it. Now, if you could find someone that's like a kid that's on genius with STEM, but also a great visual artist, that would be insane. Yeah, we got a guest right here. Let me bring him up real quick.
That's a good dedication. Way to go.
Good morning.
Hey, how's it going, Pill Eater? Good to have you, man.
Good.
Yeah.
It is 11:38 a.m. here in Busan. I just had cheese tteokbokki and saying hi to Jack and Machine Lies and blessings.
Good to have you. What's on your mind? What's trending? I mean, it's rare that we get someone with a mind like you here, like legend like that. So, what's trending with you? What's on your mind, man?
The American market again crashed yesterday from America Trump returning, and I question the ethics of day trading all the time. But I think in this type of society, if you want to make money by doing nothing, I think everybody's day trading and not telling one another how to do it. But even when you tie yourself into it, it's kind of like the pact with the devil. So if the devil falls, you fall too. But if the devil raises, you get a rise too. So in that kind of dysfunctional society, that's kind of the only means of quote unquote producing anything. If that means sitting in front of our computer and being dictated by digits that give us keys to open doors that really don't mean anything.
Yeah, and then on top of that, it's like whether you're working with the devil, winning with the devil or losing with the devil, you're going up and down like this roller coaster in the background. Like that says something for the state of the collective consciousness, I would think.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Well, I just feel the same way too, where if American society would be any better, at least there would be some form of security, but it's almost lacking and I think that just might be a sign of collapse, but maybe I'm just being too pessimistic there.
Would you say, like, when we hear that some of these conservatives, I don't know what else to call them, like when they say, we need to get back to the trades, that's where it's at. It's that pushback from this day trading mentality going on, you think?
I don't think the trades are going to work because that hole has already been filled. It's used, I don't know what else metaphor to say, but you can only have so much that robots will just replace you, and you can only tenure those people who got in 10 years ago to make sense of a trade or a quote unquote skill. They use the rhetoric to make sure it's all about individual liberty than it is about an actual objective thing going on. And the only thing they can do is, like I said, create quick retirements, or at least put quote unquote tenure on these people where it kind of creates a type of private socialism for they, but not for you. And it just seems like it's just a part of the whole ideal that, it's unnecessary pain when you could reduce it to do something else, like crypto, like day trading, like a managerial job in New York, even if it's there's this argument whether you get more wealth from what you do, but if it's a credit society and everything's borrowed, well, there's no real wealth being made. It's kind of this weird debt society of owning to owning by owning something, and it never ends. And it's just a society perpetuated upon interest. So that's pretty much, I think people are just kind of, they've made sure that there is a non-physical economy, and people are just lost in kind of a newer caste system.
Yeah, Nero, is that a gut punch to you? Because we've been talking about that day trading. I have like my best friend Brian Leo. He's pretty much on trends and stuff. That's options. That's his thing.
Like yeah, well, that's what I'm trying to learn, and I realize it's like you have to kind of like, you got to kind of like, that like I'm not big into like obviously like I'm a Christian, but like I think if you're going to like, there is this kind of like communion that you would want to do with like Lady Luck or something, like please like let me win, because there's no, and that's the same thing in business too. Like if you want to make a lot of money, it's always gambling at the end of the day, right? And I think the gambling analogy is very poignant because there's like calculated gambling or not, but
they love to say investment though. This is an investment. It can't be gambling. And when it's investment, it's a vagueness to cover the front that it is gambling. Because if you have X amount of money to make this amount in return, and it's just probability in the end, yes, I guess it's a skill, but then also at the same time, they can control the market at any will to bail out people, and you at the expense, even if you had statistics on your side and everything was proven right.
Shadow Buddha has a question for you, Peter. He says, do you think Japan and Europe will want to demand payment back for their debts anytime soon?
I don't think so, because it's a whole debt society. It's usury. They're basically stuck within this, like I said, a devil pack of. I take a very. Here's the thing. I think this is a cryptic Marxist view that I have. I seriously believe Japan has been colonized, but it's under a soft form of colonization. I know it sounds uncanny, but if you ask a hardcore Marxist or some kind of new leftist today, they will talk about Japan being colonized even at the soft level. And I think that colonization has to do with being entrapped in a system that perpetuates, a economic liberal capitalist society that has its value system against, other forms of socialism. And it just divides the world into this, again, 1950s Cold World capitalism versus communism ideal. And I think that binary still never left. It just evolved into BRICS, which is, any argument of multipolarity, which means everybody can grow without the West. Divides, say, G7, America, leftover of Europe, and only Japan. And then some other Asian countries that are sitting on the fence, and they don't know if it's G7 or BRICS, but you have agents within it. And that kind of ideal is, what do they say? Ethno-nationalism. Everybody goes to your own room, but there's no external reality. It seems like ethno-nationalism on the G7 side and multipolarity on the BRIC sides is literally the same thing. It's just the agendas are different, but the application has this libertarian basis, which I believe is still liberalism. It's just a very convoluted form of soft liberalism where we play agents too.
Well, and I don't mean to interrupt, but I wanted to ask Pilliter this, because I wrote a comment to you when you said you might want to jump on. I said Gramsci daycare is the like new model or something. So that's kind of like how I feel about it. But I was wondering, do you think that's accurate or not really?
I would say, again, I would say James Burnham's The Managerial Revolution, where coming from a Trotskyist background and realizing, if you know something about Trotskyism, the permanent revolution, the third world is problematic and racist. They can't be reformed into communist. Therefore, you have to have a first world elite that could change the world to its interests. Well, that just morphed into the neoconservatives who, they were center-right leaning, but were Trotskyist based, and then denied Marxism, kind of like Austrian school for economics. And then, like, if it's Gramsci, then Gramsci's arguing, the only reason why I'm in prison under Italian fascism is because the media and what people believe is more important than the application of praxis. Well, then that problem is that just subverts back into like a defeatism. There can, Tina, there is no alternative, and this kind of, you can't debunk the liberal system. There is no usurping going on, and I think that type of infiltration comes from the American left, whether that's from PSL or DSA, and any talk that communism is a metaphor, like Tony Negri argues in Commonwealth or Empire, or this Mark Fisher hipster obsessive nature that things are metaphorical. And I think all this is a ploy so they wouldn't create Maoists or Stalinists. I think that's the funny part, which has a benefit but has a doubt. But I think it just creates. But as for the Gramsci chart, long story short, I think there's this more obsession with controlling the platform and telling what's on TV than it is about politics. So I was sending Neuro Jack about Mixtape, this new video game that's just about 1999, and it's 3 hours, and it's more like a movie visual, not really a game. But everybody hates it because it's what you can do if you had that much money. You can make a game about yourself and put the music in you like and the aesthetics you like into it against the will of the people. You might not like it, but this is what they like. And if you want to be cultured, you got to like what they like. It's just like reading the New York Times or NPR, stuff white people like, whatever. I think that's a form of metaphorical Gramscian daycare. They just think, I think the problem is assuming everybody wants that, assuming somebody in Africa likes that, and somebody in Asia. And I see this a lot with liberal journalist outlets. Yeah.
Do those people even care, really? Though, to me, they seem like they were like,
No, they don't.
I don't care
because they're in their own reality. That's the fun, because they're so aloof with money, they can do whatever they want, not take consequences, never be in debt. They can lose money, but it won't hurt their way of life because they have trust funds upon trust funds.
It's funny you say that. Like, okay, now I'm trying to make the parallel to the topic of what I was trying to do here with the daycare in the panelverse parallel. Like, people are basically like, biding time here, right? from their normal misery life for some people. So with that said, would you say some of these panels are, like the people, just like the top tier upper class people you're talking about making that video game, in their panels they're doing like a ghetto version of that? Maybe.
I mean, if you mean ghetto, I mean like aesthetic or in subculture, or if there's a bunch of Asian men in a chat, a TikTok chat, being resentful against how the world's against them, I guess that's real. And then you can have a chat full of trans people taking they create these weird terms, how they hate outsiders in a very cult-like manner. I think that's more like some weird division sex, if that makes any sense. It's like
in general, what do you think? Because you have your work seems to have a vast, like a zoomed out version of what's what's going on and how the systems that are like pushing things or whatnot. How would you think this, like in terms of StreamYard culture, YouTube live culture, plays into some of the things that you've been recognizing and observing?
Well, I mean, it's been going on for a decade now with Google Hangouts. I remember when it was Luke Ford, and Luke Ford on his show would have pretty much everyone from some of those names don't even exist anymore. But I mean, they're all on X now. But the longest, Google Hangout person was Beardson Beardley with the Weekly Sweat. And now he seems to be a big general with the Nick Fuentes party. But it seems like after Google Hangout, we have this splinter of StreamYards and just public access TV for creating virtual hangouts and mimicry of Discord and X spaces. And X spaces have only been around for 4 years now, but it seems like the Discord ideal that we are coming into a virtual room to, out of boredom, to exercise mental and thinking activities we can't really do in person or in the meat world, because there's nothing really to do unless we're in academia, but it's already compromised. So everyone speaks in code now, and I think that has to do a lot with, or you're just not in the beast world. You're not in the belly of the beast. You're somewhere else, and I think that's true with a lot of people, is that they can't even be in the places where they are targets to be destroyed.
Whoa. You think about that, Machine?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I got a little quote here by Montessori from the Technological Society. It says, "We must awaken the child's social conscience. I know that it is complicated, that it is a complicated educational question, but the child who will become the man must be able to understand life and its needs, the fundamental reason for all existence. The search for happiness, he must know exactly what he must do and what he must not do for the good of humanity. To reach these ends, we must prepare the child to understand the meaning of the necessity of the entente among the nations." It's like the peace among the nations, right? And then it says, "The organization of peace devolves more."
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Did you catch what he
dropped out for a second?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He dropped off. Yeah. I heard that when he talked about the happiness, like the point of the purpose of a child is to find out what makes them happy. That sounds like hedonistic, or what does this society look like if the top priority is what makes you happy? That sounds all right, or am I missing something?
Well, just off the top of my head, I mean, well, happiness, it can't be a constant thing. It's going to be cyclical at best, right? I would say so.
It's convenient to the present, right?
Whoops.
Whatever happy is now isn't happy tomorrow. That's another weird thing. Whatever your form of pleasure isn't the same as a general acceptance of pleasure. So that's there's a self-defeater there. And I think it's a part of the problem where the liberal world order basically just says you do you, or why do you care about what others do? And this kind of, again, self-segregation, libertarian solipsism, that there's no external reality.
Machine, can you finish that quote? Because I do have some comments I want to say.
I have no idea when I fell out of here.
Oh, you fell out about, well, one, like 30 seconds in. So
yes. Says he must know exactly what he must do and what he must do for the good of humanity. To reach these ends, we must prepare the child to understand the meaning and necessity of the entente among all nations, like peace among nations. The organization of peace devolves more on education than on politics. To secure peace practically, we must envision a humane education, psychopedagogy, which affects not one nation, but all men on earth. Education must become a truly humane science to guide all men to judge the present situation correctly.
Yeah, you do you. Yes, Stanley, you're welcome to come up. Let me, before we comment on machines, let me bring in our new friend here.
Yes, hyper individualistic.
Yeah, let me. Where's the shit? Good radio right here. What up, Stanley? How's it going, man? Good to have you. Yeah. You're on live and direct. What's up, Lil Wing in the chat? Good to see you.
Well, good to be here.
She dropped down again. Good, yeah, good to have you too. You asked a great question about like, is there? Would you say is there really childcare?
Well, yeah. Is there such a? Shoot, I can't remember now.
Is there such a thing as
basically,
childcare?
is there such a thing as childhood?
Oh, childhood. Excuse me. That's what it was. Yeah. What do you guys think about that? Machine.
I mean, definitely the line is being blurred, I guess, right? And they're perpetually drawing a conflict between sort of young versus old. That's sort of a low level conflict, right? Also, like men versus women is another form of like a low level, like the like the lower spiritual level, like conflict, right? So, but yeah, I'm curious to know what you mean by that, Stanley. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm an old man. I'm 61.
Right.
I grew up in the U.S. South back in the day, and one of the things that I was lucky enough to have were parents and grandparents, for that matter, who were let a child be a child. The child, doesn't know what happiness is technically. They are just happy. You bring them into adulthood, in stages. And I'm a big believer in that. Children should be children. Seeking happiness for a child is good parents who look out for them. Happiness is not, it's very subjective.
Yeah. So you think that what Maria Montessori is saying is like hyper individualistic. That
I don't care about that. Children should be children.
Right. So you don't think they should search for happiness, is what you're saying?
Nope. They don't know what happiness is until how many 2-year-olds can spell happiness? And if they can, they're probably unhappy.
Well, can you define child, or can you give me your definition of child and happy?
A child is basically someone, and I'll do it legalistically. A child is someone who is dependent on a parent.
Do you think that the state or systems act
The
as a
state
parent
has
to adults?
nothing to do with it in a U.S. context. State has nothing to do with it.
Sure, they do. They absolutely do.
No,
100%
if the state did not birth that child, doesn't have anything to do with that child. Now, of course, there are rules. You got to have an education. You got to have your shots and stuff like that. But parents are responsible for the child. The state does not birth a child.
Well, but wouldn't you argue that?
No. I need you to help me out here. Does a state birth a child?
Does an environment?
No.
Okay, I need you to concentrate on my question.
So wait, are you a blank?
Does the state have a womb?
Even a blank slate?
We're not pulling children out of the state's womb.
Right.
So says you. I mean, I don't know that it's
I was there when my son was born. They didn't pull it out of the state.
You or the state?
They had to clean it. They had to give the woman. They did not give the state. They did not give the state. The state needed an episiotomy.
Holy shit!
Who raised your son more, you or the state?
Me. As a matter of fact, he came home from college. Damn it. The state couldn't keep him once I tossed him out. No, that's a joke.
but you see
He
what
just
I'm
came
getting at.
home
Like,
a couple weeks ago, right, Sally? Literally,
how do
right?
you separate the man? How do you separate the person from the environment? Right, like
The person's the person, the environment's the environment.
sure.
As a matter of fact, if you really want to think about it, you come in from the environment in a shelter. People need shelter, like they need protection from the environment sometimes.
Here's Ben when he was born, like literally 15 minutes after he was born, right here.
10. A number, okay. 10. Okay. Number is 10. Ask 3,000.
Aww.
15. That's a big baby. Yes. And toys is 5. 5? Yeah. 5. Okay. Thank you.
That guy's 8 years old. He just did a judo tournament yesterday, came in second. So yeah.
No way.
Time
really?
flies. Time flies.
Oh, poor boy does it.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's just crazy.
Good for you.
Yeah. Thanks, man. Yeah. And congratulations on Stanley too, man. He has a one of our great thinkers over there over there. Yeah.
Oh, I wouldn't go that far.
Yeah, come on, man. Yeah. So shout out to this is a man that has what's up? Is this Tom? Noid?
Yo, what up, man? What's going on with you, my brother? How y'all living?
I'm chilling, bro. Speaking of children, this man is a master at having children right here, right? What's up,
I feel you, bro. Like, listen,
Yeah.
I got between 8 and 12 kids, depending on which female you talk to. You know what I'm saying?
Jeez. Oh man. Yeah, we were talking daycare, and I mean, I was trying to relate it to this panelverse stuff, but it got us to a wider question about we're talking right now. If you caught up about childhood and what is a child and all that. I don't know. Any thoughts?
Can I ask you a quick favor?
Go ahead.
Because I wasn't able to listen to the whole thing. The panel verse. Can you make that link for me?
Oh, the link.
No. The panel verse to the daycare.
Oh yeah, because the daycare system. In terms of the U.S., it was it came about. It was a move from the home to the industry. To the industry, okay. Right? And during the industrial age, we needed that, right? And I'm thinking, and it made me think because I'm thinking about how these panelists, a lot of people, they take their private struggles and they vent. Mm-hmm. Normally, what they would vent to a friend or a family member, they do it on these digital spaces because a lot of times their offline environment is they don't feel like they have a place available or people available that will actually listen to them. Yeah. Okay. That's one of the connotations I was looking at.
Well, and really quick, you just kind of give me a little insight. Like, think of whose responsibility it is to raise children, right? It used to be parents alone. Now it's teachers and parents.
It was never parents alone, dog. It was never parents alone.
No. Yep. But what I'm saying is that it was clear about who was in charge. Now it's like we're mostly raised by women, or mostly raised by the state, or mostly raised by the government, or propaganda, or media.
Well, no, you're raising them for the government, right? That's the thing that like a lot of people don't understand. Like when you think of America, like you go, oh, this is a nation. It's not a nation. This is an economic zone, right? And as a parent, your job is to raise good economic units, right? To feed into the economy. That's your purpose. And so, like, how do you do this? Well, you send your kids to school to go learn, like, the social structure, right? To be molded into, like, the proper type of citizen, right? But the daycare leads into that to give them a head start on that, right? Because everybody is, like, competing to be able to stand here and have their children, like, have a, like, a normal middle-class lifestyle. And that's why, like, they send everybody, like, to college over the past, like, 10, 15, 20 years, whatever it is. Right, it's because like they want you to be able to stand here and like be decent economic units, number one, but number two, also, right, they're pushing the responsibility of you know, I mean, like training and education and the structure and the culture of like the economy onto like the individual rather than having it be, you know, I mean, like a community thing. It's like it was never like the entire idea of the nuclear family. That's actually only ever existed after the Industrial Revolution. That didn't exist before then. Before then, it was like a multi-generational family.
Have you read David Brooks's the nuclear family was a mistake?
No, I haven't. You know, what I mean,
Yeah, it's
like
the same argument. It's basically the same argument that the nuclear family is an economic unit rather than a nation. And Brooks famously wrote that out. And we should go back to the extended family, which you talk about as the community, because the extended family puts the people in your blood first. And this was written by Atlantic journalists, pretty much.
Yeah, right. And well, journalists have done a lot. I just like the 9 Nations of America was written by a journalist, right? You know, I mean, that's a fascinating. I forget the guy's name, but it was back in like 1923, right, where they broke down the different nations of North America, right? Because like it's actually like we're not like one nation.
The one I read was Colin Woodard. Have you read that? It's a more updated version.
Yeah, Colin Wood. I think that's the guy's name.
Colin Woodard.
Yeah.
Yep.
What was he talking about?
Really well. Basically, it's, you know, how America is regional, and I don't want to distract, but there are basically 11 regions, you know, Deep South, New England, Midlands, you know, and it influences so much of our politics, our culture, et cetera, et cetera. And it actually, when I read it, just gave me, oddly enough, an insight on Black culture, you know, which is what I talk about a lot.
Right.
So I think that 9 nations idea, America started out as 13 colonies, not a contiguous nation. We have federalism for a reason. States have a lot of power. We are not as homogenous, you know, like a Switzerland, as we tend to think we are. And that's kind of the reason there's so many ideas floating around. So I don't want to, you know.
Yeah. Well, that's the whole daycare thing, right? Like the whole daycare structure, right, is all based off of like the period of America where everybody was more homogenous. And that's because like we were
America has never been homogenous. If you actually take that 9 nations, never been. Not even at the beginning. We had a whole civil war.
From the period of 1945 until 1980, right? Actually, technically, like 1937 until 1980. Hang on a minute, bro. Wait a minute. If you go look at like the voting patterns, right?
Okay,
like go look at Reagan and Nixon too.
Wrong.
Go look at the votes.
There was a whole civil rights movement in there. Tell me about how we were homogenous.
All right, so really? I'm going to explain.
You don't need to explain, son. I'm not a neophyte.
I mean, like, listen,
the homogenous after the homogeneity argument after 1945 is ridiculous.
I mean, it's not.
You don't have to mean I have done my evaluation. It's ridiculous. We've never been homogenous. From day one, July 4, 1776 to now, we've never been homogenous.
I mean, technically,
can you break down for the hold on? Can you break down what do we talk about homogenous? Can you a definition for that?
Well, the first definition you need is nation. What do you mean by nation? First, and secondly, homogenous.
Where they're from, Natio.
Well, yeah, go ahead.
All right, so like the homogeneity idea, right, of culture. I'm talking like homogeneity of culture, right? Not homogeneity of like people's ethnicities, religions, anything like homogeneity of culture, right? All right, so the reason I say this is because like everybody at that point, like go look at the approval rating of the government or the trust in the government at that point, like from like 1945 until about 1980, right? I mean, it dipped after like Kennedy got shot, and it dipped after Nixon some, right? But like it,
okay,
like
1980 was how many years after Kennedy got shot? Where's your argument going?
It was 27 years after Kennedy got shot.
Where are you going? Why are you doing these huge leaps in time?
It's not 27 years is not a huge leap in time.
27 years is a huge leap in time if you want to talk political homogeneity.
It's not,
it's not
right.
well, hold on. Well,
It literally is.
I
In
know
a 250-year-old country, 27 years is quite a chunk of time.
I know I know the disconnect between you guys. You guys are using different definitions for the term nation.
No, I'm using a right definition. And no, I understand what a nation state is. So don't go there.
Once you got the publication of mass media through like radio and television, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was much more homogenous, right, than it is today, right? Before we had the internet age and everybody ended up like, like put into their own boxes and had their own like algorithmic, like, different little echo chambers that they have now, right? Things were much more homogenous, right, between 1945 and 1980 than they are today.
Can I help you out?
The approval in government, right, and the approval in the economics was a thing.
Wow.
It's a thing, right? It's a thing. Like
Gotcha.
everybody watched the same movies, listen to the same music. Everybody should watch the same movies, listen to the same music, bought the same clothes, went after the same cars, had the same goals, had the same structure. The American dream was the idea that was pushed by Ford after that time. Am I wrong?
Should I sing a Negro spiritual?
I was about to say, Sally's like,
yeah. Did you catch that? Oh, dude, you are so fucking wrong. Black people weren't hearing that shit, dude. You are so. I don't even know where to go.
He may be wrong, but it's like it sounds a little bit more.
To sing the Negro spiritual. Dude,
we're acquaintances and friends.
Where did you get the homogeneity argument? Black people, yeah, we were there. We witnessed.
Hold on. Wait. Does it,
you gotta remember where where you grew up, man. The South is a little different than other places.
Yeah, listen, I'm from PA, bro. Like, listen, we have black suburbs where like you had steel workers and shit. And they were like 100%
friends
black.
there. We're not talking about.
I have black children.
I don't care. Okay, let's go back to your argument about the homogeneity. If you have black kids, do you preach this homogeneity argument to your black kids, to your black friends?
Oh no! Listen again. My black kids, my black son's down in Georgia right now, right?
Reactions.
Oh shit!
What are the reactions when you preach?
My black son's in Georgia. My black son's in Georgia right now playing football, right? Hang on, wait a minute. He's on there playing football in Georgia right now.
I'll listen.
Yeah, right. Yeah, good. Right, yeah, listen, and like literally, like, it is well understood that, like, when he was up north, right, and he went up to like Blockhaven, right, he was around Italians and like, like black kids and mixed kids, right? It's like he was fine. He went down there to Georgia and he's like, bro, like these motherfuckers are different down here. This is a whole different type of thing, right? It's a different thing just as a whole. But hang on, wait a minute.
And you have defeated your own argument about homogeneity. It's a different thing. You lose and you defeated your own argument.
When it comes to the economics, right, and the cultural aspects of the economics, it was very similar. It was pretty much homogenous during that period. Everybody wanted the same shit. They wanted a car, a house, you know what I'm saying, like 2 or 3 or 5 or 10 kids. Right, they wanted motherfucking like to have property and to participate in the economy.
Can you give me a time frame when everybody wanted the same thing?
Again, it was 1945 to 1980, and everybody believed it was possible too.
So was that Martin Luther King's argument? We all want the same thing.
Yes.
Okay, I don't know how I argue with this.
Hold on. Hold on, Stanley. Let me help you out because
literally, like, that was his argument. I'll put it this way: egalitarianism means we have the same access to it, but it's not the same as sameness, that we're all the same. You may have equal access to it, but some people won't have that access.
Yeah, and he wanted the same access. He wanted the same
I
thing.
don't think so. I think black people in 1961 just didn't want their asses beat when they protest. When they sat at a lunch counter, they did not want any guff. They just wanted coffee.
Yeah, I agree. They wanted the opportunity to participate.
Folks, all I have to say, and I'm going to be rather gentle here,
Thank you,
it's
Stanley.
my first time. It's my first time here. I will yield the floor, but your argument about homogeneity and we all wanted the same thing, yeah, maybe at a meta level, but I think sometimes they just wanted a cup of coffee and a cheese sandwich and couldn't get.
I want to.
Okay,
I want $1 billion.
how do you pay for a cup of coffee and a cheese sandwich?
Really, you're gonna go there, son?
We're talking economics, bro. Like that's what I'm saying. Like
now.
the whole civil rights movement was paid for by McDonald's and Coke.
Again.
Like, yo.
I'm just gonna calm down. Let you
I think
roll.
there's two different schools. Liberalism means that we have, or that we're all the same, the will to do it, and egalitarian means we have equal access, but it doesn't mean we're all going to have the cheese sandwich, or that we can't. We may try to get the cheese sandwich, but
don't even know what that means. Egalitarianism and liberalism. Liberalism
I don't think it's
is
not the same thing.
No, not even close.
Exactly.
Well, let me help you out because really quick, Stanley, I want to go back to what you first said. You said this nation has never been homogenous. Well, what do you mean by nation, though? What do you mean by
cultural.
nation?
I mean culturally.
But that's not the definition of a nation, though.
Okay. Yeah, I think a nation can share a government. Nation states are basically under a same government. It tends to not be a monarchy. They're on a whole bunch of different, kingdoms, fiefdoms, that sort of thing. Now you can sharpen up my definition because I hadn't thought about it, but I know what a nation state is.
Yeah, a nation is a group of people who shares the same shared history, economics, like ethnicity, language, culture, and religion. Right, that's a definition of a nation, technically. Right, but like we're not a nation.
Go with that,
no.
We have. Hold on, I'm talking nation state.
A nation state is like something else completely. Right?
Correct. We have a nation state in this modern world.
I mean, yeah, a state's something else completely as well. Like state.
That's why I keep saying nation state, not nation.
A nation. All right, so like a state as a whole, like state as a word didn't exist until like 15.
Okay,
1529.
Uninterested in the tap dancing. America is a nation state.
It's important to understand what a state is.
It is literally a modern concept. A lot of it has to do with the Industrial Revolution.
I mean, not really.
All these tribes, all these fiefdoms, whatever. Like Germany. Germany was a bunch of little princedoms and kingdoms.
I agree with like
economics forced a bunch of nations into nation states.
There we go. Yeah, you're right. This is a merchant class.
I know I'm right. Thank you for confirming.
Right. Yeah.
Hold on real quick. Let me just remind people that the new channel we're going to be streaming from is it's called at Mantra 93. Myself and Shadow Buddha in our first episode show on that channel, Mindfulness in the Body, will be on Saturday, 9 p.m. Eastern this Saturday. So please sub up to that channel. It's in the chat at Mantra 93. Okay. Thank you.
Right.
Well, you'll receive great conversations like these. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah, like so. Yeah, so like listen. So like this whole thing, like what we have right now is a capitalist structure based on like merchant colonial fucking economics from like 1480 something like that, right? That's where all this structure came from. And up until, you know what I'm saying, like probably the 1800s, the 1880s, like with the advent of like electricity or mass electricity, oil, transportation, all these type of things, right? Everything was much, much more localized, much, much more divided, much more generational. After that period, after like the 1940s, right? Because like you had in 1930 there was 10% of the population had refrigerators.
Which country?
In the United States. 10% of the population had a refrigerator.
Everything's about the United States, correct?
Well, we're only talking about the U.S. right now. I don't care about the rest of the world, right? So, like,
let me help you out with your very niche point of view.
This is not a niche point of view.
There's a book there. It is a very niche point of view. And when I say niche, I have a better word, but I'm new here. So,
thanks for your grace, Taylor.
There is a book called Empire of Cotton, and I'm new to the book. I had no clue that cotton was like the first global economic thing. It ushered in the actual industrial revolution. You must read it, and it will solve a lot of these weird notions. Cotton had no clue, but cotton independently was grown and woven in several different parts of the world, and it wound up being that, you know, England wound up taking over the whole thing over, you know, a couple hundred years. It will tie together a lot of what's a nation state, how nation states were formed, how the Industrial Revolution got to be the Industrial Revolution. Sven Beckert is the name of the author, and he's also written a book on capitalism, which I haven't read. You got to read it. It's seminal. And it wasn't just about the United States. By the way, it wasn't just about the United States, but I had no clue how the Civil War changed a world economy. I had no clue. It's just a brilliant book.
So you admit that the Civil War was not about slavery alone; it was about economics.
No. My point was the Civil War. Well, it wasn't about slavery, not initially, but the Civil War changed a world economy. The Civil War had a major impact on the Industrial Revolution, and I had no clue.
Yeah, I agree. But like, you ever heard of a guy named George Monbiot?
It is a seminal book.
You ever heard of a guy named George Monbiot?
No.
He's a Frenchman.
Tell me about him.
He's an economist. He writes about the origins of capitalism. It came to be in 1450 in a place called Madeira, right? Where Madeira was the first place where you had the commoditization of labor, land, and money at the same time. And basically what that means is you divorce like money, land, and labor from like its traditional cultural like ties. So like when these explorers showed up there, they realized that sugar grew really well. But like, you know, I mean, the land was like wide open because, you know, it was like an island that nobody.
Madeira, Spain?
Madeira, yeah. It was discovered in 1450. It was uninhabited, right?
Oh, wait, so where? You'll have to help me. I don't know where.
Madeira, Portugal. Madeira, Portugal, not Spain.
Okay, you and I will disagree on that history then.
I mean, okay, right. But all right, so Portuguese colonists discovered it, right? And these Portuguese colonists showed up, right? And they stood here and they ended up standing here like having the first time where they had land.
Where
and they were
did they
able
discover this?
Madeira, on the island of Madeira in 1450.
Oh, okay. So you mean off the coast of Africa?
I think it's off the coast of Portugal, but it might be off the coast of Africa.
Okay, well let me help you out with your history.
Okay, go ahead.
Essentially, Portugal creeping. There's a whole thing, and there's a book called Born in Blackness by Howard French, and there are one or two other books I can't recall off the top of my head. Portugal basically kicked off African slavery.
I agree.
And
I was about to tell that story.
They crept down the west coast of Africa, and it was so funny because sailing techniques, tacking the sailing technique, sailing against the wind or oblique to the wind, tacking back and forth across, the wind. Europe would have never been able to discover the New World without Arabic sailing techniques. Arabs invented.
Yeah, I know. It was the Italians who originally brought the English to like North America. I know. Like, listen,
if you say so. So
it was a guy named Giovanni Caputo, right?
It took Portugal like 80 years or something to make it to the tip of Africa. Portugal.
Yeah.
There was, and then the Spanish tacked on Madeira. If there is an island, if it's off the coast of Portugal, it's probably south and closer to Africa. And if you know where Portugal is, it's hop, skip, and a jump across Gibraltar to the continent of Africa.
Yeah. So all right. So anyway,
that's my
like
point.
what happened was they stood here and they didn't have any people. There was no one who lived there, right? So they couldn't just borrow or like get servants from a noble or like hire people. So they went to Canary Islands and they just snatched black slaves and brought it over, right? And then they needed money, so they went to Venice, they went to Holland, right?
Okay.
They went to London, right? They went to other places to be able to go get money for the first time.
What's the name of the book? Can you let me know, because I need to read this book.
It's George Monbiot, Monbiot, Monbiot.
Is he Portuguese?
No, I think he's French.
What's the name of the book?
Right.
I'll put it in the chat.
I think it's like The Origins of Liberalism.
Okay.
I think it is something like that.
The origins of liberalism started with slavery?
Yeah. Well, okay. So, all right. Here's the thing. This started off in Madeira. They ended up. Okay. Wait a minute. Let me finish my shit. All right. So they ended up standing here, having these slaves. They fucking cut down all the trees, right? Because it takes like 60 pounds of timber to make 1 pound of sugar, right? Process it out. And so they ended up like running through, and they got to the point where it was no longer efficient to be able to get trees. And by this time, the fucking Columbus had gone over to the New World, and Brazil had open, and they sat here. They abandoned a bit at the top of
in 1450.
1450.
Okay, Columbus.
This is
1492. Son. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
I need. Okay, I know you're driving, so I'm not gonna.
We found the author, George Mondelbot. Yeah. Thank you, Reddington. No, let me say this before when he gets back. To bring it back to reset the topic in a sense, the daycare aspect. I want to ask Pill Eater. Do you see does Korea handle daycare or look at daycare the same as they do in the West?
No.
You see, no. How's it different?
No. I would say that. Well, I mean, if your son is only like 1.5 or 2, it goes to daycare. Where in the West, those are kind of private sectors unless it's the state pays for it, which is kind of getting less and less. And the
listen,
requirements or what's that? I'm sorry, but no, maybe just a long story short, I guess
take your time.
There's more. Again, I don't mean to be biased here, but it seems like there's more activity to do in Korea for your children and more of purpose at a very, very young age compared to if you're delayed in kindergarten where you're beginning to speak. Like you're learning Korean by the time you're like 1.5 or 2 and doing excessive exercises and other things that I feel like in America we would be lazy and delay it until they're like 4 or 5.
I see that in Taiwan too. There's a lot of activities that my friends back home, when when I tell them the stuff that we did with Ben and stuff, they're like, "Whoa, I wish we had that here," or "Wish
right
type stuff." Yeah,
and things. And in America, you would probably have to pay for it, like
a lot
it's
of money.
private college, like it's state school, and here it's offered by the government. So again, I guess there's more incentive to have children in Taiwan or South Korea if the government is literally paying you to do it, which sounds like 1950s America. And as much as that is shown in our faces, nobody's taking the initiative to do it. And I think, to rewind 30 minutes ago, it's kind of like how I was saying, you can't have conversations in the belly of the beast, so you have to leave. And I think we're pretty much all in that situation where if you're in Taiwan and I'm in Busan, and here we're talking about esoteric topics in English, that shows you something about more of ourselves and our society than us, say, being in the same room in New York City talking about this.
Yeah. What do you think? What do you guys think that says about us? Like, rather than we speak about it here, rather than we were, if we were in that room.
If we were in New York together, or like we had one city, one commune. We don't even have that. We're not even allowed to have that. Well, I mean, go back to Neuro Jack. It's like, well, who's in New York City? Is it the Gramscian daycare people of the trust fund society that has to dictate a ruling elite and whatever deep state politics just to absurdly use the dog park in Lower Manhattan to pay $5,000 a month? It's kind of ridiculous, and for a small space. But I don't know. All that to see a concert, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, Stanley, like, I love their story about when you gave us that insight about like your avatar, about like what a big moment that was, and like in particular, like how your son was basically out competing, quote unquote, Asian Americans, right? A lot of the Asian Americans.
Oh no, that was half a joke.
Okay, well, you two tell it.
It was.
I like it.
No, it was. It was a. Y'all probably don't know who John Galt is.
I think they do. Some of them do.
I do.
Yeah.
It literally wound up. I tend to be, to put it bluntly, a liberalism person, but more a philosophical sort of, liberal liberalism. So
I don't want to be mean. I don't want to be
it-
mean, but don't you? But can you see how liberalism could lead to slavery?
No, I don't. Liberalism doesn't lead, it lets you lead. So, and I can go through a whole history. Whoever brought up this crackpot, Anbiat, yeah, I know who he is. I've seen some YouTube videos. Dude, he's not a historian. I don't even know why you would ever think there's nothing about historian even in his Wikipedia, which I did look at. So it was just a pure joke. My son, and I talk about my son too much. However,
we talk about our sons here.
He's at Georgia Tech, and the majority population of the student body is Asian. So I made a joke to John Galt about black people need to stop. Black people like him need to stop worshiping white people. Like the white standard in America is over. The Asians have a higher standard. They do better.
I'm talking pill eating.
They do better on testing. The income per capita is higher, et cetera, et cetera. So I just made a joke. Y'all keep telling me about how black people should be more like Asians. Well, my son is. I raised him to be an Asian standard. He's at an engineering school where Asians are the majority population. The more Asians than white people.
Well, let me ask you a question.
My son is there. My son is there. So he met an Asian.
We got
standard.
you now. Hold on.
Yeah, it was a dumb joke. It was racist.
Well, let me ask you a question. Is authority?
I've heard worse than adults.
Is responsibility without authority? Is is authority without responsibility slavery or not?
No, it's I don't even understand that question. It is so ridiculous.
Yeah, you're stuck on the slavery.
Are parents, are
me
kids slaves to their parents? Parents have authority over their kids. Are the kids the slaves of parents? Ridiculous question.
Do we wait? No, it's not. Do we under
It is.
liberalism?
It is
have
literally.
authority? Okay. Are you going to let me speak, or are you just going to talk over me?
Gabriel is the host and first time here. So
yeah, but you've interrupted people. I want to just get. I
will listen more than talk.
Okay, well, just let me. This point is very important. I'm not trying to be rude at all. I'm really not. I promise.
Take your time, Neuro. Take your time. Take your time, bro. Like, yeah, you got this. We were all.
Well, I'm gonna forget. I'm gonna forget my point. So yeah. I'm not mad at all.
No one's interrupting.
Sure. Yeah. So here's the thing. Are you sure that liberalism, as you understand it, does not give the illusion of authority along with the responsibility it gives us?
I'm absolutely sure.
And can you demonstrate that? How sure you are to me now?
Nope.
Fair enough.
And why not?
Now let me tell you how liberalism works.
So what you're saying is an assertion. What you're saying is an assertion.
Hold on,
when you're done, I'll answer.
Yeah, I'm just saying what you're saying is just an assertion, then, which is fine. I'm just pointing that out.
Oh, well, let me finish my assertion, sir. I believe in liberalism so much, I'm going to let you stew in this weird thing about, is authority, the people who are under authority, slavery. Liberalism allows people to make their own beds. That might be the fundamental thing about my type of liberalism. As long as you're not making my bed, as long as you're not hurting me, you make your own bed. Think what you want to think. Raise your kids to be what you think they need to be, and I'll raise my kid to be the way I think he needs to be. And so far, I'm winning.
But here's what you said. You just said that we were forced via economics into a nation
I
state.
said nothing about economics.
What do you mean?
I literally
I'm pretty sure you did.
Didn't talk about economics.
So, but didn't you say that what we call a nation and a nation state is different because economics is involved?
Did I say that?
I don't remember.
For economic reasons, yeah. Okay, so it's involved.
That sounds good.
Would you like me to tell you why I think that? It's because for places like England, in the United States, and Germany and France, the nation, the government, basically had to get involved with the economics to make, say, one of the reasons the United States compromised with the South, especially after the Compromise of 1850, is cotton was king. So, for as long as America could, there's money coming, big money coming into the country from the South selling cotton. The funny thing about Sven Becker calls it war capitalism, where places like Germany coagulated into a nation because it was more effective in colonization, economics, everyone being on the same page, making the economics, enriching the country, enriching the merchants, the capitalists, basically. Capitalism and nation states, nationhood, hand in hand. England was actually probably the best in, I think, maybe Holland, but capitalism and nationhood, nation statehood, it's hand in hand. Colonialism, It was kind of like a booster rocket. You have different stages, and what comes out of it is actually where we are now. It's kind of fascinating.
And Neuro Jack, I feel like we gotta upgrade. We gotta trade. We got Stanley, aka Dominique Wilkins, for CM Mike Dunleavy.
What the?
Yeah.
Whoa. Oh no. The CM
I give you a
is way more
compliment, bro.
entertaining.
The Mike Dunleavy. Say Terry Teagle.
Look, and let me tell you right now, I'm not a historian. I'm just a reader. So, you know, if I'm sloppy
I didn't mean it super contentious. I just want to get the point across because I think that, like, I mean, personally, I would say that, as you said, these things that you characterize as booster rockets that led us to here, but like if we're in a good place, then that kind of justifies slavery and all these things, colonialism that came, because where we're at would not be possible without them. See what I'm saying?
Well, that is an argument that I'd have to think through and discuss through. Where we are now is because of slavery. I know I'm not going to disagree, but boy, howdy, that's a whole show in and of itself.
Damn.
Because if you're going to make that argument, then who was picking the cotton for free, and why can't they be compensated? I can explain.
Well, they're not alive anymore.
Okay. Well, I think that's a bullshit argument, and let me tell you why. If you got a couple minutes, let's just give you slavery, because apparently that, I didn't own slaves, my family didn't, and you're not a slave. That is a weak argument. Let's talk about once slavery was fought over, and then we can go into, the Civil War wasn't specifically about slavery until the end, but that's a different show too. Explain Jim Crow. After slavery, after the 13th Amendment, 14th Amendment, why was there Jim Crow? Jim Crow is where America owes reparations. I can give you off the top of my head a couple examples of where generational wealth in a Black family was lost. Jim Crow is specifically where reparations are in order.
If I find out that
and your daddy's daddy lived in Jim Crow America, try and slough that off with your bullshit.
Sure.
Well, my grandpa didn't live in Jim Crow America. Explain that one.
Sure. So what you're arguing for, I would say, is
No. I'm not arguing. It is literally American history. I don't have to argue it.
Sure.
Read a book.
Well, here's what I'm saying is, like, if I find out that a guy, did a crime to my grandpappy, 100 years ago or something, right? Do I now have the right to go to his family and demand reparation?
Okay. Do you really think I'm that stupid? Jim Crow was law.
We got to
wait.
I forgot about the beer. You want some? How about some ether?
What?
Never mind.
Hunter S. Thompson?
That's it? Yeah, aka Johnny Depp.
No,
What's up, Dennis?
Dude, when the going gets tough, the weird turn pro.
That's right.
I'm a Hunter S. Thompson fan.
If anything's worth doing right.
Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
So
he's a Kentucky boy.
Here's the deal.
Repeat that line. Sorry, I didn't catch it.
Go ahead, Stanley.
When the going gets tough, the weird turn pro.
No. Before the drop.
My bad.
Bottom line is your great grandfather. My parents grew up in Jim Crow, and you sound younger than I am. Jim Crow is where the generational wealth was literally stolen.
Great.
And I can
so
give
great. So wait, I just want to make sure I understand your argument before we continue. You're saying that the people
just get to the point. You don't have to steal,
stop
man.
interrupting me, and I will. Okay.
Oh,
So,
I interrupt when I get bored. Just make your point.
Okay, so your argument or what you're claiming is that anybody who lives under a government, hold on, anyone who lives under a government is now responsible for that government's
You've lost
actions.
me, dude. You're not going to argue your point correctly.
No.
If you live under a government, I literally said it was the law.
Right, but how
you're not going to argue your own point correctly. Come on now, you got to love that, Jack.
Hold it. You brought up Dennison,
Stanley's going to tell you how you're going to argue your point. He'll tell you what your point is, Jack. Go ahead, listen.
Hey, Dennison, why don't you help your buddy out?
Who?
All right,
you?
Just chill out.
I'm trying to help you.
You want to interrupt me, X? How about you help your buddy Neuro Jack out?
I didn't mean to be rude, Stanley. But as you're proving right now, the only way to be on a panel with you and actually talk is to interrupt.
You bring out
no
the
offense
worst in me because you are largely a sponge.
Can we?
All I need to do
that's
is
true.
I need to wring the thoughts out of you. Do not interrupt me, son. You know how much
that's not going to happen. I'm going to do whatever I want to do. You're not the boss of me. This is Gabe's panel. I'll follow his instruction. And honestly, I wouldn't. I've already learned better than to share my thoughts with you, Stanley. You're obtuse, and there's no point to it.
Let your little friend finish his little soliloquy, and then I'm going to come back to you.
Well, can you let him finish? Let's see if you can let him finish without interrupting him, telling him what his point is while he's talking.
No. You don't get to tell me what to do. You said you're going to do what you want to do.
I asked. It was a form of a question. Do you know what an interrogative is? It's when you put that little curly thing at the end, and then you change the tone of your voice. You raise it at the end to imply that it's a question, as if to say, Stanley, can you let him finish? Can you let him make his point? Yeah, I agree with you. It's up in the air. There's no telling with you.
Stop talking and let him finish.
We got about 10 minutes. I had a date with my beautiful other half. Go ahead, Neuro. You're landing your plane. I got up to go to the bathroom. Sorry, guys. Yeah. Neuro Jack, Stanley, Dennison, Pill Eater.
Well, I said what I said.
I think Neuro tapped out.
All I need folks to do is explain Jim Crow.
What's up, Willa?
That's where the damage was done.
Oh wow, he left. Oh my gosh.
This machine still here?
Machine's still here, yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm here.
Yeah.
No, I guess not.
And I promise Gabriel, I will never do this again.
What do you mean? Hopefully you'll come back. You just won't go. You mean this style? What?
Hey,
you will never
know your shit. You either know your shit or you don't.
Yeah. I think you have a capital, even though you're new here. I don't know. Maybe it's what I listened to you a lot lately. I'm like, I just let Stanley speak. Even though normally I would say respectfully, maybe you could say stuff with a little bit more of grace or whatever in terms of when you're bored. But hey, man, I do what you do because you know you. Yeah.
That's impressive.
I hear other people talk, and I'm like, I can sense when they don't know. They're a little nervous in their argument.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Listen, I like how the fact
anymore, but
no, we can hear you, Bill Eater.
Maybe if Machine's hearing. Just to digress, I was before I have to go. I was going to ask Machine if he was aware of Jeff Mills.
I'm not.
Who was that, Pill Eater? He said he's not. I don't know if you heard him. Can you expand on it? Let us know a little bit about him. Jess Mills. That's it. Yeah. Well, we're gone. We're doing tap out tag team. Nero's back. Hey, Dennison, I love how you were compelled. What was the catalyst to get you on here? I wish you would have came earlier.
Just unfortunately, I was wasting my time on another panel that wasn't interested in having a conversation. And by the time I closed that out, I saw you were live. Yeah, I wish you had hit me up because
from the beginning.
Yeah, because I definitely would have picked this spot over that in a heartbeat. Yeah. And I just came up because like these are some of my favorite panelists up here.
Yeah.
This is what I come to YouTube for. The kind of conversations that you and I have, that TML has, and that Neuro Jack. I appreciate his thoughts as well. I always have. And I heard Stanley cooking about reparations. I actually probably agree with him on reparations. So I thought it would be an interesting dynamic.
Well, you actually missed my point about reparations.
I did, sir. I didn't hear it. You're correct.
I agree with him on reparations too. If somebody did something wrong to somebody anytime in the past, I can go and assault and do whatever I want to the family members with the government to get what I want out of them.
Let me help you. Let me help you out. I'm not hard coded for reparations. I think the harm is done.
Yeah, I was gonna say I might not agree with the
You're trying to justify it, so obviously.
And that's what I might not agree with is the justification.
See, this is what this little child doesn't understand.
Ross.
Sometimes the justification doesn't necessarily require reparation. Reparations are literally owed. But what if I just go, hey, you know what? It's okay.
How can you owe reparations to somebody?
Right, that's where I'm at, Stanley.
I know you're over eager. I know you're over.
I'm surprised how similar Stanley and I are on this.
Hold on. How can you owe reparations for the actions of a government? Number one, and number two, to somebody that doesn't exist anymore. How is that possible? Explain that.
Okay, what I need you to, are you talking slavery or Jim Crow, sir?
Whatever you're talking about.
Okay, that's okay. I'm not gonna bite on that stupid shit. Whatever.
I mean, you're clearly
you
chewing on something. So.
You have no clue what I'm talking about, really?
Well, you're saying that, somebody that is related to people that lived under a government 200 years ago owes reparations for what happened 200 years ago.
Say again, Stanley.
Look, Dennison, I'm glad we agree on that one point. How do you?
So you're going to run away from the. You're going to run away.
I literally want to come back to you.
Man is going to run away.
Dennison and I have known each other for a bit.
Keep running your way.
May I give him some respect?
Run away.
God damn, dude, I'm not running away.
A grown ass man running away from the topic. You are because you're not sticking to the topic. You made the claim and you don't want to stick to it.
Yeah, okay.
Because you don't believe in it. You just want to spout whatever nonsense.
I can't believe I'm going to stand up for Stanley here. But
you didn't even understand.
Jack, Stanley does not run away. The reason why he disengaged with you is because he was asking you what you were referring to. Whether you wanted to talk specifically about slavery or Jim Crow.
All right. Well, then Dennison, respectfully, please just stay out of the conversation. Let him defend himself because I want to hear his argument of how. Oh wait, I want to hear his argument.
Well, let me help you
anybody
out.
Alive today is responsible for the actions of a government.
If you will recall, before you got all hot and bothered.
Why are you doing a diatribe rather than just
I was making a joke, son. I'm making a joke. Trying to lighten the mood a bit.
Because it's all just a
May
joke.
I lighten the mood a bit? May I lighten the mood a bit?
You don't actually care about the things you talk about. It's just fun, right?
I actually care deeply about the things I talk about. So
prove it by sticking to the subject matter rather than making a joke.
What's the subject matter? Remind me. Do you know what the subject matter is?
Yeah, you said that somebody who lived under government, a long time ago, who none of which are alive today, are responsible for the actions of that government.
Now, did I basically just say slavery? Let's just take it on the chin. Did I not make that kind of move? It's a chess move.
What?
Okay, so here's where I'm gonna go. I literally said Jim Crow was the biggest problem because it robbed black Americans of generational wealth and political power, by the way. Post 1877 compromise of
right. I understand that part. What I don't understand is how anybody alive today owes reparations.
All you need to do is go skip ahead. I understand. So Jim Crow lasted until which year, sir?
Look, more
Jim
facts.
Crow
Wait. You need to justify your premise. You need to justify your premise. You need to justify your premise. You don't need more facts.
When did Jim Crow end?
It's irrelevant because the people are alive today or not.
Yes, they're alive today. You're getting close to my point. When did Jim Crow end, though, sir?
It's irrelevant.
Any idea?
It's irrelevant because
listen, Jack. You can't say it's irrelevant and then at the same time, you can't say it's irrelevant and then at the same time say that those people aren't alive today.
Because
you're making it relevant with your own argument.
Well, okay, the problem. I just need you Google it. I'll give you time to Google.
Why are you playing a semantics game rather than just
because I know I'm going to destroy.
I think I just pointed it out, Jack. Like you're saying, your argument is that the people aren't alive today.
Rather than edge me, why don't you just destroy me rather than edge me on? Let's go.
Okay, I want to I want to get maximum pleasure. You remember that Montessori thing?
That is diabolical.
Children should pursue. I want maximum happiness.
We are
maybe
better than you niggas.
Be sadistic. Period. Maybe that's part of the problem.
Okay, well, if you don't want to play, that's fine. 1964, technically. And you go, it might be rhetorical, but I kind of agree with the point. My father lived deep in South Georgia in Jim Crow. There is wealth that is very measurable. Go back, look up Bruce's Beach, Manhattan Beach, California. Resort property, black owned, taken away by eminent domain.
Okay,
just
so
wait. No. I need to finish the story. I need to finish the story,
you don't.
please.
Who owes your father money? Who owes your father money? Who owes your father money? Who owes your father money?
Literally, this was like
I can't hear the host.
1920 something. This property was taken away.
Who owes your father money?
Oh, dude, I literally cannot finish my story because this child knows I'm gonna win.
Hey, Neuro Jack, I got a couple of minutes, and Stanley. Oh, actually, we're on ascended time, soccer style. So, Stanley, can you finish your story?
In California, Neuro Jack, you can say what I will finish it. Basically the end of this Bruce's Beach story. A few years ago, California paid the Bruce family $20 million in reparations. But my point, where they paid the family $20 million and rented the property back so there's income. My point is it was taken in 1920 something. Who knows how many millions of dollars of generational wealth between 1920 and let's just say it was 2020, might have been a little later than that. How much generational wealth was lost in those years? That is Jim Crow. That's why there's reparations owed.
Okay. My question is very simple. Who alive today should pay for those things that happen?
Motherfucker, I'm alive. I was born in 1965. My father, Jim Crow, South Georgia. There are plenty of people alive who happen to be black and white, by the way, who lived during the Jim Crow era. Thank you.
So who should pay for the reparations?
The American government.
So they have to get that money from.
Listen to what? Did you not hear what I?
Are you not going to let me speak?
Because
how
you're
are
an
they gonna get the money to
idiot
pay
and
that?
you don't listen. You don't.
How are
listen.
they going to get the money to pay that?
Dennison, I literally said to you, sir, that we might just have to take it on the chin and do the best we can. Now there here and there things that might kind of, but there's not enough money that the U.S. could generate to pay reparations that way, even in a Jim Crow, even in the Jim Crow era.
All right. With that said, I appreciate y'all for coming out tonight. We can.
You gotta go to work, huh?
Nah, the real work. A life of a husband. I'm off today, actually. Oh man,
you can't extend it a little bit. Gonna cause family problems.
I already told her I was gonna be.
All right.
We can't do it.
Can I?
I appreciate the conversation, though. I do, and hopefully no hard feelings from me to you. So I appreciate it.
Can I respond to Wasama 2 or whatever?
Yeah.
Yes, I'm full of condescension. I am way full of condescension for people I don't think that are up to the task. So don't debate me if you're not up to the task. Sir, thanks for noticing.
My answer was going to be all of us. Like we all pay, just like we have before, with the Native Americans and the Japanese. And
dude, wait, hold it. That's absolutely right, dude. I don't even think American slavery was as bad as Caribbean slavery. Holy cow!
Yeah. Yes.
And
some of that stuff,
it only helps all of us.
Over there,
like, sorry, go ahead.
Not to say some of the stuff that Howard Zinn wrote about in People's History about when Columbus and them were going on those islands. That shit was diabolical too. So yeah, there's a lot of crazy stuff.
I'm just glad that Dennison and I look. I think we probably do sometimes agree on some things.
Stanley, I thought that we would agree on reparations, but not on how to get there. And we even agree on how to get there. That's what surprised me.
I don't think you can.
Hey, Neuro, thanks for coming by, bro. I'm glad you guys got you saw all that. You, Dennison, wow, that was a shock, but not a shock. And shout out to Ben for getting the silver medal yesterday. Let's see.
Oh shit!
Oh my lord! Oh,
holy shit,
bro!
Salute
in the judo. A lot of kids.
How many people?
I think there was maybe at least 50 or something.
Wow, bro!
Yeah,
was
so he did good.
8?
He's 8. Yeah, he's in 2nd grade. It's kind of cool. It was literally he represented his school. He didn't have to go to school yesterday. Instead of having a basketball team or a swim team, his school they have a judo team. Public school.
Dude, let me say something, motherfucker. You better enjoy. This is the best time.
Yeah.
No, seriously,
it's good
this
stuff.
is the best time. Of
2nd place
life.
out of 50.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
God damn.
Yeah.
Olympics.
Yeah, he does.
Right?
He almost as good as his triathlon. Like he did last year. He got 2nd out of 120 in his age thing. So yeah, he's good. He's a little
someone you have got to see.
You told me about that guy. I need to see his stuff.
Aramiose Frimpong.
Sweep the leg, Ben. Sweep the leg.
God.
Yeah, that's what it was. The judo, you got it. That's why he would have got first if he would have been mindful of that. The other guy got him on that. Yeah.
Oh, wow, dude.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah.
Oh my Lord.
Yeah. By the way, Neuro Jack, I appreciate you coming by, bro. Yeah, man. It's a good life, man. And this is like, I mean, I'll be totally transparent. Of course, the number one priority is to talk to my friends, but it is. Hopefully, someday he will listen to this.
No,
listen.
No.
I want him to listen to this stuff. You say no? You know what,
dude?
You wouldn't want your son to hear you?
No. I thought you meant your priority is talk to his friends.
No.